What happens when IcoPal and Watchamania combined? A new podcast called IcoPal Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is the inaugural IcoPal Podcast, episode 1, guys. And we got to start off perfect. It's fitting. It's very fitting if we start off like this with our special guest today, one of the founders of Watchamania. And some could say he's a founder of IcoPal's original. Either way, you guys can label it.
It sounds good.
Yeah. AdvyDeven, or you can call him just Devin. No, I was right. Yeah.
What's up? Yes. AdvyDeven, whichever you prefer, whichever feels better for you.
Yeah.
And here, yes. Watchamania. It's been about 2 years now. When you said founder of Watchamania, I was like, wow. It really is going to be 2 years next month since Watchamania first opened doors, so to say.
Wow. And I remember Jesse was the one that basically introduced us to you too. So that's awesome.
And we've been
shout out Jesse.
Yeah.
Watchamania was named by him. I will never not give him that credit.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how this comes full circle in. And you're the first one for us for the special guest for IcoPal's podcast.
You comfortable, Adam?
I'm trying to be. It's a little tight over here, but that's height. And so, with that in mind, that's what she said. With that in mind,
Let's stop beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Let's just.
by the way,
trim the bush.
we want to do a podcast for so long, but we struggled with the name. We were thinking Into the Grizzly Cave, or whatever. Shout out to, I forget who said that name from one of our chat.
Grizzly Kid 4 streaming service. It's in the archives. Yeah, the streaming archives.
Alex just one day be like, really? Just call it IcoPals. That's right there.
So
it's right there.
We already got the logo. We just gotta put podcast in the headphones. Boom.
It works out. Boom, ba, ta, ba, ba.
And there's no fitting first guest for the inaugural IcoPal podcast than AdvyDeven.
Were you gonna say live stream?
I was gonna say live.
It's a habit. We live stream stuff like this all the time, and it's it's a habit. With that in mind, though,
gotta break the habit sometimes.
There you go. Good song. With that in mind, one question is fun. What does IcoPal mean to you? There's a bunch of definitions, in my opinion, but Devin, what does it mean to you, IcoPals?
To me, it's a matter of no matter the difference in taste, opinion, whatever the case. It's IcoPal is at the core, you're a homie kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's always just what it means to me when I hear it.
Basically, bros and just hanging out.
To me, supplement deal is coming. It's coming.
Damn it, dude!
I had to do it. Come on, it's already.
Hey,
I
I'm.
would kill that supplement egregiously.
It's funny.
Just don't abuse it. Just don't abuse it.
Oh, and by the way, we do have IcoPal merchandise. So
Yes, on the website, Howard Merch. I think it's streamlabsmerch.com/grizzlykid4. I'll link it in the description on the tube of you. This will be on Spotify, Amazon Music, all that fun stuff. And this is, I'm going to be real with you guys, this is our second time trying to get this going.
Take two.
So, it happens. Hey, it's our first time. We're new at this, so.
we could have lied and say it's our first time, but no, that's the
Our
kind
first
of
file
people
got
we
corrupted, but we're here now.
Hey, we're on jobby status. Let's try and get to main eventer in the future.
Yeah, we're climbing up that ladder. With that in mind, AEW All In is around the corner. It's next Sunday. I was going to say Saturday, but it's Sunday. And with that in mind, a lot of building up's going on right now with MJF and Adam Cole especially. Honestly, in my opinion, I did not see them as a team effort, and then the vignettes comes and the promos and all, and I'm like, fuck, this is great. I like this. What's your opinion on MJF and Adam Cole?
I think that this has really been a good opportunity for AEW to get back to something that they were most well known for and something they were able to take a lot of pride in, and that is their long-term storytelling style of booking. And you think things like Hangman Kenny, Team Taz versus Darby. There have been a lot of long-term feuds in those first 2 years or so that AEW really did well in telling, and over time that just became the concept just became like taking a long time to tell a story. But in this case, this is a great chance to tell some nuanced layers about characters on a deeper level, while on the surface giving us a very entertaining vignette about a villain trying to be a good guy kind of thing.
Good change of heart storyline, and we definitely seen those in the past. And you guys know it's wrestling. It's just like weddings and wrestling, or
Son always had to go.
or signing contracts for a match. It's always gonna go wrong.
There has to be a stunt. There has to be I'm trying to think of the term.
Johnny Knoxville, because it's Jackass.
There has to be
Exclamation or
like a moment.
A moment,
There has to
There
be
you go.
a moment.
There
where,
has to be a change, like
Yeah.
a turnaround.
because of without it, viewers may tend to change their channel, but.
And with that in mind, though, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here on the first episode podcast. It's crazy. With All In and with everything going on with the locker room stuff, which we will get to, and with everything going on with Dax, or not Dax, Cash Wheeler, I believe it's Cash. And by the way, I hope he gets better, his act gets together. The internet is cruel on that. And plus, especially with, in my opinion, I felt like All In, just now they're trying to advertise it heavily.
So do you want to just get straight into it? What do you think of the booking or lack there is? Because as of Hartford, Collision in Hartford, they didn't really announce it since the announcement of they're doing it. They've been mostly focused on All Out or just their weekly programming.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a fair point, because like you mentioned, the Hartford, Connecticut Collision, that was the July 29th edition of Collision, which is just inside a month away from All In. And this is where it brings up the interesting argument about AEW's booking philosophy when it comes to advertising their pay-per-views in general. Because they traditionally have had 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year. Yeah. So that means months apart from one another, say for Double or Nothing and Forbidden Door. And they always do this thing where they wait until the last 3 weeks before the pay-per-view to start booking towards the pay-per-view. It doesn't exist until then. Even though we know as soon as Full Gear is over, all right, come March is Revolution, and this year they did a little bit better than that, with MJF and Danielson starting their program in January, 2 months out from Revolution, So, but that still was an exception to their rule of waiting until the last moment to build towards it. And while I can kind of get behind that in terms of putting a lot of focus on your weekly product for one, but also, not looking too far ahead of things just in case anything goes wrong. I think the tight squeeze at the end there isn't the best idea. And in the case of All In, that might be the exception to that, because, All In was this giant historic show, not just for AEW, but for all of wrestling. That's the one that you almost want to go the WrestleMania route, and just the name alone, try to sell it, So you wait as long as you can to start advertising matches for that card, for the sake of saying, 60,000, 70,000 bought tickets just because it's All In, not because it's AEW. Because announcing a match does 2 things. One, it now allows those people who were announced in that match to take credit for ticket sales, or vice versa. It's the reason for there to not be ticket sales or not be purchases of the pay-per-view, because you have All Out a week later, and you kind of have the situation where, as fans, a casual American viewer who's going to spend $50 on one or the other, if either at all, they're going to pick only one or the other, so they kind of have to choose.
Pick your poison.
Unless what you said, unless you have a VPN or back in the day, Hotbox.
And with that in mind, I think they should have done a bundle, All In and all. The all bundle, I don't know, something to that cliche. And you could name it that. And I know I think you were saying this our first recording round before we got corrupted. In UK they had a bundle for all out,
And All
Forbidden
In.
Door.
Oh yeah.
Like all in
All
one.
those pay-per-views. I can't think of them top of my head. I apologize. So many. But like you were saying before that, and it's like they should do that. I think that was for Fight in the UK. Is that right? Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Fight TV. I'm sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah, and no, you're good. And Bleacher is for America, which I like Bleacher to a point, but I prefer Fight because if you buy some, you get Fight credits and all that.
Yeah.
And you can build that up for something like this event. So, with that in mind, though, like, yeah, they definitely. I felt they didn't thought that through.
But
kind of.
let's see where Bleacher Reports leads, because what they may do is see how many people purchase this event and have like a discount for the next event. So
Yeah.
it all depends
Like
on
a voucher.
Yeah. Because of it's easy to see which person purchased something for them.
You know what? I'm shocked because this is a new combat sports streaming app, Premiere, because like the Major Wrestling Figure podcast uses it, and I think they bundle stuff. And plus, going to All Out, Conrad Thompson is having StarCast, which is a big bundle deal. So it has been done before. So it's like, why not discover to that? But I guess AEW has an exclusivity deal with Bleacher for, and I don't know how long.
Yeah, for America, I think. And,
Yes.
yeah. No, you're good. You're good. It's the delay part here. Sorry.
It's like a newscast.
Yeah.
It's like when you're waiting for the person at like the other side to answer, and it's like,
But
yeah.
I want to say this now. Actually, there's talks like that AEW filed a copyright thing, or a trademark for AEW Plus or something like that. So it sounds like, I don't know if we might be getting a streaming service of AEW.
One step closer.
If so, should they put all the ROH stuff, Ring of Honor, onto that to make it just more easier for the average consumer? Or should they just keep Ring of Honor its own thing with Honor Club? Right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Honor Club. So that's the rumor in the window right now. Again, with the rumors, take it with a grain of salt, because, you know, you don't know with that stuff. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I do have the answer for that. You see, the AEW Plus is a subscription service on Fight TV. In fact, I'm subscribed to it. AEW
okay.
Plus is where you get the features like that. You have to be international subscriber, which is the point I mentioned earlier. The VPN that I use, so that's how I actually purchase my AEW pay-per-views, is I get them $20 a pop as opposed to $50 a pop, because I transport to the UK, and bada bing, all of a sudden it's cheaper. So that's been my method. And like mentioned, on Fight TV, they had a bundle of like Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, All Out, and Full Gear all together. All In wasn't on that, notably, which is where it's like, we're not sure how this fits into their scheduling or where it's going to be. But Warner Brothers does have an exclusivity deal with AEW, which is why they, like, in America, they only stick with Bleacher Report, which is a Warner Brothers affiliated program. But yes, AEW Plus is a Fight TV subscription service to get access to commercial-free Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, and that's actually separate of the pay-per-views. You can just buy the pay-per-views on their own.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
yes, I think AEW filing for the copyright to it, I believe, is just because they still want it to be theirs. I'm not sure if it's going to eventually branch off and become its own subscription service, but right now that doesn't seem like the most viable option, because Honor Club, they want to still have it be its own thing, which is why now you can buy the Ring of Honor pay-per-views on that service as opposed to having to go to Fight TV or something for it. But yeah, I'm thinking if they're going to do a subscription service for AEW at all, it's going to be the Max, which is they're going to be the rebranded HBO Plus.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it may be like an add-on, like HBO, like programming. Yeah.
kind of like what they do with everything on Paramount and everything, because everything needs an add-on for streaming services, and it's like, oh man, you're making it more for me.
But like, shows how like this. I think the theme is this event has like a dark cloud over it because at first nobody know like what match is going to be, and also where you could buy it because there was rumors, it's pay-per-view only or like closed circuit like theaters and stuff. And then it's like, okay, now more is getting out. I think it all should have been out in the open plan, which brings me to this. Do you think All Out, and it's probably the obvious answer, is Tony Khan is like, well, I just want to do all this quickly so I can compete with WWE. It's like, I got a stadium show now.
You mean All In?
Or All In, thank you. All In.
Someone had to say it once, All Out.
The botches keep coming.
Yes.
I'm not so certain it's a matter of competing with WWE. It definitely turns into, and if it sticks it to them, then awesome as well. And that's what it ended up doing, so that's what people are focusing on. But when it was initially set out, this was meant for AEW to make waves because, as they've said in the video packages and stuff, this is emulating the spirit of the initial All In. It's going to, we're going to get 10,000 seats for this indie show. 10,000 fans for this indie show, and people are like, that sounds ridiculous. You'll never do that. And
The
they did it in
$10,000
4 minutes.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
And then all of a sudden they come forward, this company that's been alive barely 4 years, we're going to do Wembley Stadium. Who? What? And then in 2 days sold 40,000 tickets. What?
Which, by the way, good on you, AEW, for that. Good job. And,
That's the thing. And it's evolved into like this superpower.
I got the facts and figures right here, but to pass the time, do you feel Wembley is a perfect place for it? Like the UK fans craving for a WrestleMania, you're not gonna. We don't know if they're gonna get it, but like, do you think since this is successful, WWE or like other WWE, let's not beat around the bush, is gonna have eyes on it? It's like, we're gonna go there now.
I think yes, and that comes in part from the fact that when you look at out of WWE and AEW is the bigger of the two in the UK.
yeah.
And that comes down to something very crucial, and that is AEW is available on free television there, whereas WWE is behind a paywall there. So by default, AEW is more accessible and thus it's more liked. And the average British wrestling fan is much smarter to the workings of pro wrestling than I would say the average American wrestling fan. So that's why you get all these creative chants and stuff at the UK shows and the like. I think that's going to come into play in a Wembley environment. That's not to say if they were to try and go for, say, a Tokyo Dome or go for whatever big stadium/coliseum is in Australia, if that wouldn't have done something amazing. And they could have done all in like what's it called? I forgot what it's called. There's a stadium in Chicago. Soldier Field.
Yeah, I believe so.
So they could have done that if they wanted to, because that's Chicago, the same spirit as All In. But I think they wanted to go for the biggest possible thing because to match the same spirit as the initial All In is to go for something that quite frankly just didn't seem believable for someone in their position.
Well, the ticket sales don't lie. I got them right here. Available tickets, 4,626. Current setup, 85,472. Distributed tickets since last update. And I'm getting this from Wrestling Ticks. Great source of information. The distributed tickets, 80,846 plus an additional 790 since last update, which means it surpassed SummerSlam 92 last time wrestling was at Wembley, the old Wembley, and it just surpassed WrestleMania 32 at Arlington Stadium, which was 80,709.
Jeez, that's definitely an accomplishment.
Do you think they're going to sell more?
100%. This is going to be one because there's also going to be walk-up ticket sales. I imagine that's going to come to at least a couple of hundred to 1,000. That's going to be like day of/day before. I think they're going to have a few people who are going to try and get some tickets in the last week or two, depending on what matches are announced. But if they're going to meet that 85,000 mark, I'm not too sure at this point. And I don't see that as completely necessary because they've already set, they set the records. This is as big of a win as it could possibly be. They can't 100% say sold out without, bending the truth a little bit. But I don't think that's a hill to die on. And I think the only people that are going to really care about that are the AEW detractors, the people who are going to try and make AEW seem lesser than no matter what it does,
Yeah,
So-
it's like, wait, you're just adding the concession stand people, the merchandise people.
And with that in mind, that's a good way to go to this topic. With wrestling fans, with the tribalism and all that, with WWE fans, AEW fans, and the tiny, tiny sliver of TNA fans.
Wait. There are Impact fans?
Who knew? I don't know.
Yes, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
And so,
joking, guys,
with that in mind, in my opinion, I say, just enjoy wrestling. Grow up. Don't be a child. Come on. It's all for enjoyment. The Wrestling Appreciation Society, as we call it.
I was gonna say.
Just appreciate wrestling. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like that in mind, though. It's like, I see people on Twitter, I'm sorry, the X now, as Booker T would say.
Just say social media in general. It's one big bubble.
It's mostly Twitter, but they were so toxic with this stuff. Both sides. I'm not saying just AEW or just WWE. It's both sides. And I get it. You like one company or you like the other.
Yep.
It's okay to like one thing. Just don't
be toxic about it. Don't be encouraging harm to the other side. Just let everyone appreciate wrestling. And I find it funny we kind of coined the phrase Wrestling Appreciation Society.
And the abbreviation
was actually because of that's what wrestling used to be, appreciated instead of all this tribalism. People don't understand that back in the day, like us, we used to get bullied for liking wrestling.
That's fake.
To the point, to the point where it's like, there's people that told me, oh, you like wrestling, oh, that's fake, that's gay stuff, and to a point, some people told me to kill myself for liking wrestling. How ridiculous is that?
And it's like...
But nowadays, it's becoming a little more acceptable.
It's mainstream now. We should be proud that a sport that got mocked at a long time ago is now something that people are talking about with, wrestling's cool. It's bringing back to the golden age.
Or the Attitude. I just remember, Attitude Era was like the one exception for it, because that was like the edge.
Hype.
Yeah. It was the edgy terms of it.
And also, sorry to interrupt you guys, but look at it from the wrestler side. The people that are wrestling, they have multiple companies to go to. It's not just one monopoly, or you have to go to Japan. Now there's more companies in the United States. Your thoughts, Devin?
That's exactly it. AEW has changed the landscape in terms of creating an environment for wrestlers to have multiple ways of making it. It's no longer, I need to be on the stage of WrestleMania, or I am not a successful professional wrestler. That's no longer the case. You don't even have to say that that's the case with All In, the Tokyo Dome, because it's become such a viable profession. It's no longer, I'm trying to become a WWE star. I'm trying to become a pro wrestler again. And that's something that was very necessary. And that's not to toot AEW's horn, because realistically any company coming in to fill that void that AEW filled would have created a very similar environment. But that's not to take away from what AEW has done in that regard as well.
Yeah, like the funniest thing is my coworkers don't know much about wrestling, but they recognize The Undertaker, they recognize the John Cenas, they recognize names like Macho Man, and then realizing like how I remember back in the day where it's like John Cena, they should stop pushing him. I'm sick of Cena being over pushed, and then hearing all these non-wrestling fans going like, oh, I recognize John Cena.
Damn, he was right.
It proved that like John Cena is the guy because of it lets people who do not know wrestling, who does not like wrestling, who wants to insult wrestling, recognize a person who got their start, well, basically started through wrestling.
And plus, it's a gateway to get people into wrestling.
Yeah, it's
kind
like
of interesting on that. Yeah.
one of my coworkers, he didn't like wrestling in the beginning. Then we brought him to Blitzkrieg.
Shout out to Blitzkrieg, by the way.
Yep, and he became a fan. He started watching it. He's getting hooked. He's
Religiously.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like when we were talking about before getting bullied. It's like I don't talk about wrestling that much because of it's like. Yeah,
You don't want to like pick a fight or something. That was me.
But now
it's
it's like getting to the point where you can love wrestling and let people know you love wrestling, and that's the best thing. And like we were saying before, that's what people gotta realize. Just embrace that. It's.
Embraced by the darkness.
Yes, it's there.
And plus, no one brought this up. Plus, with the unfortunate thing going on in Hollywood with the SAG strike, wrestling, there's nothing on but wrestling.
True.
Or in sports, but wrestling, like sports and entertainment,
But
it's getting pushed more, which means more eyes.
Realize
on the product.
this: wrestling has writers, though, and that's the big point in that, David. The writing in wrestling. So, a company that could be really damaged by this strike is what's only there.
It's sad on that, but yeah, and it's by the way, I thank you to everybody. We get how it is hard to write stuff, and thank you everyone. I just want to say thank you for those writers telling good stories throughout the years, especially in wrestling.
Yep.
And it's like, seriously, like, I don't know, you expect it to be really easy to make a storyline, but apparently not in WWE especially. With, like, some storylines can be stupid.
Yeah.
Then again, you get that everywhere, but that's what I love about wrestling, too. It can be stupid, but at the end of the day, you're having a good time. You're having a good laugh about it. It could be the Tommy Wiseau's The Room bad, but it's all in for good fun.
And to like put my stamp on it, it's like the original spirit of all in.
He said it.
All in. It's like it's supposed to bring all wrestling together instead of separate it.
It's like the Forbidden Door as well.
Yeah. Your thoughts, Devin?
No, that's the exact thing. To bounce off what you were saying earlier about how like wrestling, especially because for so long it was just WWE and the quality sunk because it was just WWE and there was nothing to keep it on point. It became hard to be a wrestling fan openly without it becoming something you could be easily mocked for, and with it growing with wrestling as a whole growing as it is, and like you mentioned earlier, you're able to get somebody into it by just giving it a shot because now the stigma has lightened up about it, so people are more willing to give it a go. And as unfortunate as the strikes are, and it may start affecting wrestling sooner rather than later, it does presents another opportunity for wrestling to really get this boom. So I think that now more than ever, it's important that, us wrestling fans wear that fandom with honor. Show us like we've been here. This is something that is worth enjoying. This is worth investing your time in. And in turn will show wrestling, like those who produce wrestling, to produce it as a whole, because like that it is something that that is worth the effort they're putting in and will further improve on that quality like they already have been. You see things like the Bloodline storyline, the Better Than You baby storyline. These things are much more nuanced than we're traditionally used to seeing in pro wrestling, even as far back as recent as like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we still see the much more traditional wrestling storylines and tropes. But I think as more time passes and more of an audience is drawn to wrestling, the more exposure and influence it's going to get from the outside world, and what will encourage it to evolve. Oh, yeah, exactly. And
And just like anything like that, evolving. That's one thing I love about wrestling too. It's like you see people evolve from it too, and it's like especially like young wrestlers back then. Like when you like us, like we like with indie stuff, we're like, oh, we never really had it in our area until Blitzkrieg came around, and then we're like, you see these young talents, and you're like, they have what it takes to be a star. These guys, I see big potential in them. And then, like, you, like, see them evolve from the indie leagues, like, getting close to nothing to going into the big time. Like, nowadays, like you were saying, like, AEW is considered big time now. Same with the WWE. And you see them on there, and you're like, wow, I remember seeing them, like, at this rate, like, wrestling with, like, 30 people in crowd to 50 to up and up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy how that is. Like, for example, Tommy End or Aleister Black or Malachi Black, go by names. See, we saw him in Blitzkrieg as Tommy End.
To go more of a deeper cut, I would say Joshua Briggs.
Yep, Joshua Briggs.
We seen him at the Blitzkrieg shows many times. And there was one moment, it's like, we kind of have a curse in Blitzkrieg where whenever we chant future champ,
they never leave.
Okay, yes, now they're done. But with Blitzkrieg, because they're moving on up. But Briggs, we remember seeing him at Blitzkrieg, and it's like, oh, this guy has a look. This guy has a gimmick. This guy's gonna make it. And then you see him get booked on that Evolve show on the network, and it's like, oh my God, yes,
yeah.
He's getting over. We're happy, and then you see him now on NXT
with the short hair.
Yeah, the short. I think his gimmick's better with the long hair, and he used to have a chain and just whack it on the ground.
Oh, he was like Bruiser Brody.
Yeah,
that or another way. Picture him with long hair. You guys know Grimes in NXT, or now he's on the main roster, I think. Picture him just a taller Grimes with a little more muscle, I guess. Like, that was him in the Indies. Like, he was a tall guy, not Grimes, Briggs back in the Indies. Yeah. And, dude, like, there was one spot, like, they made him a beast where he pulled out his shoulder, and they were like, he hit his shoulder on the ring post to put it back in place. And I'm like, you don't see that anymore to build the beast. And I'm like, dude, I want this back. Like, I want hardcore beats. Like, oh, this guy could literally fuck me up. He could literally screw me over. I don't want to mess with him. He is crazy. And it's like, nowadays you get people like, yeah, they look like a beast, but they don't do anything.
Do they have, like, the background to back it up?
Yeah, like, that's the thing with kind of wrestling, too. Like, sometimes, like, they can build new stars, but mostly rely on the old stars.
Yeah.
Which is, like, a perfect segue.
Anyways.
But do you have any thoughts on that, AdvyDeven? Or Devin?
On...
Like what we just said, or
with
any things you want to comment on that, or
like seeing indie talent, going up to the big leagues.
Honestly, that's one of the most gratifying things as a wrestling fan is seeing the. And honestly, you can liken that to other medias as well. Like you can see, like an actor or actress. You know, you see them in their local indie films or something like that. I actually there's a girl I went to high school with who was an aspiring actress, and she was like in like local B-level movie films, and then she started getting into regional films, and she's moving her way up in that now. And it's
congrats.
It's cool to see that growth. You know, it's like this person came from the hometown area. Another one for me is those long and it's not like a person, like I don't know her personally or anything, but Ashley D'Amboise. She's been in things like CCW, which is like my local promotion, but then she's also been on AEW Dark and on Ring of Honor. So it's like, oh, it's awesome to see them like coming from that, like just coming from that. I don't want to say. I'm trying to think of like a not insulting insulting term.
Yeah,
but,
like
coming from
the outhouse to the penthouse.
From poise to riches. Basically, there you go.
Minor to big.
Yeah.
or AHL to NHL for a hockey reference for you guys.
It's like for us, we just found out like Orange Cassidy's original gimmick before he was like the Sloth. Yeah, we actually seen him at Blitzkrieg before.
Oh, was it the crab?
Yeah, he was kind of like that.
King Crab or
No,
Hermit
I
Crab?
don't think it was that, and it's like.
Oh no, he was like an ant thing or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and we weren't aware, and it's like,
Dude,
okay.
compare that gimmick to his now gimmick. You're like, no way, that's not him.
Yeah,
Wearing the mask and everything. No way.
I just seen like someone do like the wrestlers like them from like the start to now out and seen that. It's like, no way. We actually seen Orange Cassidy before
And we
he was
didn't
Orange
realize it.
Cassidy. And then it leads you to the thought where it's like these gimmicks are needed no matter if it's kind of silly or not.
It's on for everyone.
Because of if you look at it, at the like the kicks and all this, the Sloth style is what got him noticed, and that's the biggest thing people got to realize. In the indies, if you want to make it, you need to get noticed.
Yeah, like you gotta try something different, and
Yeah.
it's like, hey, sometimes it could be a controversial thing,
Yeah.
or a stupid thing,
Yeah.
but you know what? We're wrestling fans. We're, as MGF says, fucking marks.
Yeah.
We're fucking marks, and I'm proud of it. And it's like, I know people, when you hear mark, you're like, oh, that's insulting. You're just saying we're nerds or something. Not always.
It's just a badge of honor for
I wear that
wrestling.
badge of honor because I say like, hey, I don't care. I'm a wrestling fan. I'll cheer this guy so hard until my lungs give out.
I'm a smart mark.
There you go. And like this, like for example, like Travis Huckabee. You guys know
Yeah.
he's our boy. And like that at Blitzkrieg event, oh, you'll hear me
You'll
until
hear
my
us.
lungs give out.
Just the
And
beauty of professional wrestling, and
it's an art form.
yeah, honestly, we can talk about indie wrestling
Yeah.
all, but we're here for one thing:
All in.
Yeah.
Oh, before we go all in, let's go to the build up here. With like everything going on and all.
Oh, yeah.
David wrote this down before. He wants
okay.
to talk
so,
this stuff.
So, the dark cloud. I'm gonna say going down the rabbit hole. So,
My God.
so okay. Before we start in the current, we have to start in the past a little bit when Mr. CM Punk Phil Brooks arrived to
Pepsi
AEW.
Phil. Pepsi Phil.
Pepsi Man.
when he arrived to AEW, because it's all in the news now. It was great. The first time he'd been to a major wrestling organization since his unceremoniously exit,
7 years.
exodus from WWE and the fallout that he had with them. Came in, and it was all about the chase to the gold, when he's gonna get that gold back, because you know it was coming. Then the champion at the time, Adam Hangman Page.
I totally forgot he was champion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Is
Oh,
that
And
sad?
he had a great run.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yes.
now it's kind of forgettable, though. I'm no offense to Adam Page. I love Hangman Adam
But
Page. But I'm like,
unfortunately,
I don't remember his run too much now.
Unfortunately, one of the biggest things people are remembering about these championships for AEW, well, the world title, is the controversy.
Yeah, that's kind of
Which is
true.
unfortunate.
You said controversy? Let me get into it.
Uh-oh.
So, the infamous workers' rights promo. Well, what to say, it did one thing that you do not do to CM Punk. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't throw guns at Godzilla. Well, you don't insult CM Punk, because CM Punk is notorious to wear his emotions on his sleeve. And he's very calculated when he chooses to expose
Sorry
it.
to interrupt you, but I'm loving Devin's reaction. Like, oh boy,
We're going into the
we're-
juices now.
we're getting into the juicy stuff.
Yes.
This is what I love about these podcasts.
Oh, it gets even juicier, and
Once we get to the press conference, I'll say something about it.
yes. So basically, we pretty much okay. The workers' rights
Yes.
promo pissed Punk off, after he beat Hangman Page for it, he took a jab at Hangman Page, pissed Hangman Page and his group off. So we go all the way, we just scroll down a little bit, fast forward to All Out of last year, where the All Out Brawl Out. But Adam, you look like you have something to say.
You want to know what's crazy? That is actually soon going on the 1 year anniversary, which is crazy
And
to
the
me.
funny thing is, they should just book the match at All Out the 6-man tag match.
Yeah,
and just call it Where It All Begins Again.
Oh my god, it writes itself. And like with that in mind,
And it's booking isn't there.
I remember like I had to like when this happened, I had to like wake up early for work because I wake up and I got to be in for 6 a.m. But like I was trying to go to bed, and then I hear Dave like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "What's up? What?" Tried sleeping. What's up? You hear what CM Punk said? No. What did he say? He basically called everyone a fucking mark. and then like, and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "This dude,
Listen,
just plays it on in my phone." I'm like, "What the? Yeah, I'm old. I'm tired. And I deal with fucking children." That line, and then, ironically, I find this hilarious. He's like, the VPs who can't manage a fucking Target. I'm like, hey, that's an insult to me. I work at Target.
okay, but the other thing I'm sorry to interrupt, but the other biggest line...
This is my moment.
Yeah,
my
but
moment of
I'm just
clarity.
saying the one line you forgot to mention, and Punk's comment. If you want to find me, you know where to find me.
Yeah, basically saying like, you know what? You start the fight, I'll end it. So it's like, well, you did say that.
Okay, let David continue.
Okay, so basically, well, as he did the finer bullet points of it, both of you, basically, I'll just skim to. While enjoying Mindy's muffins at Mindy's Bakery in Chicago,
I wonder how those muffins taste.
we gotta get Benno to go there. But basically, he was around people that he didn't like. The Elite, the Friends of the Elite, and frickin' wrestling reporters who frickin' put the whole
Cole
controversy
Cabana
with Cole Cabana, which he had a falling out with, up on public. And what to say after the press conference in front of Tony Khan, may I add, in front of Tony Khan.
God didn't know what the fuck
was
to do.
CM Punk a nice guy with those comments up?
You could say that. Went backstage with his motley crew of
Ace Steel.
Ace Steel, thank you. His wife that's in crutches, and the leader of the pack, Larry the dog.
That dastardly Larry.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is, the funniest thing, the kindest thing he said in that press conference was on the muffins.
Oh yeah,
That's the only compliment.
That's the only kind
fuck
of thing.
everybody else, but these muffins are fucking
Oh my
delicious.
god.
Right?
So basically, the Young Bucks, the Elite went into the locker room. Argument, big fight. Everyone knows the story. All of them were champions at the time. Suspended, stripped them, and we just lead to when
Was
the
the Punk
Elite.
injured? Like, did he get hurt from the match?
Yeah, Ace Steel was hungry that day.
Oh yeah,
Ace Steel had a hunger that night.
CM Punk should have offered him one of the muffins.
Yeah, come on, man.
I think that was the biggest crime of the whole thing.
He did not share.
He didn't share. He shared the soda, but not the muffins. But the Elite came back, took a couple jabs at them, and the locker room said, "We don't want Punk here. It's a safe environment. Everyone's working together great. Locker room morale is up. Teamwork makes the dream work." Fast forward to July, CM Punk returns, does Operation Everyone Else is Soft But Me, pissed Nick Nemeth off, pissed everyone else off, which we lead to Hartford, where he spray paints, he takes his title that he never lost, spray paints a E with a giant X,
Yeah.
and and pretty much said, want it, come and get it.
So it's not AEW anymore, it's AXW.
Yeah, well, and
That was in
remember,
case the Elite left. That's in case the Elite left.
Yeah, Punk take
and
that.
They need a
remember,
backup plan.
Tony Khan told CM Punk, be on your best behavior.
Be a good boy.
Trying to sign the Elite back. Basically, sign the Elite back. The Elite said they'll go any show they want, including Collision, which pretty much pissed CM Punk off, which gives him... Remember that he wears his emotions on his sleeve? He let it went through, and Green's... What was it, the week before? Or the same week? North Carolina, he pretty much went through this, and I got notes.
Yeah, he's been taking notes for this
Before you
moment.
say the notes, and remember how MGF described AEW, the All Friendship League. So
Yeah.
they really changed the aspect of how that company has turned.
So, oh, and by the way, to add fuel to the fire, when CM Punk returned to Collision, because they made a show...
It's the CM Punk show.
Yes, made the show for CM Punk, and plus, CM Punk had the ace in his sleeve, his trump card, the network that loves CM Punk.
Hey, it works out. If you think about it, as a business move, Punk is being smart.
And where the network goes, Tony Khan follows. Which leads to this,
all
fast
about
forward
the
into
money.
Collision in Greensboro, South Carolina. At Collision, several names were told to leave, including, or banned from AEW Collision, including Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy, Ryan Nemeth, brother of Dolph Ziggler, which had an awkward situation with conversation with CM Punk over the soft promo,
I think he said he's too soft or something.
yeah, which people said was awkward, nevertheless. And the head of fucking talent relations, Christopher Daniels, who we saw in Hartford,
I was shocked.
wrestled, and a couple weeks later he was told to leave because he wants Ace Steel back. And the cherry on top, Jack Perry wanted to use a spot with glass, and CM Punk said, no, we don't do this. This is a wrestling show. This is not an outlaw mud show. Basically, we do it by my rules.
I heard that, but I didn't know Jack Perry. That doesn't seem like Jack Perry's style, though.
Hey, don't forget, Jack Perry is turning into Shawn Michaels now.
Douchebag Michaels!
He got the beard, he got the hair, he got the attire, so he's becoming Shawn Michaels when he betrayed Marty Jannetty.
And so you want to know why he wanted the glass spot? He had a vacation and he wanted to sell the injury for the vacation.
Okay.
So, Hangman Page was scheduled to do a promo there, but he was asked to leave. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Tony Khan probably just didn't want any
Interaction. With that in mind, we're gonna pause it. Devin, your thoughts on this so far?
No, I got one more thing. I got one more thing. Hold your thoughts
sorry.
real quick. Pretty much after the show, CM Punk saw Hangman Page country sign, and he said that he is basically, ready for this, a shelf warmer.
What?
And CM Punk moves.
The man said that?
Yes.
Shelf warmer.
So there's a lot to unpack there. What's your thoughts on all of that?
All this combusted.
Controversy.
Never dull moment with Mr. CM Punk.
Well, yes, because there's a lot of things that you mentioned in there that Fightful Select reported, and not for nothing, Fightful Select is my go-to source. You can count on one hand the amount of times they've been inaccurate with a report. So I've always cited to them, and a lot of what you're saying, it definitely comes from the horse's mouth in that regard. There's a lot to run through there. We're going to start. Yes, with CM Punk and the whole all-out drama. So yeah, we go back to the Hangman situation. First off, I do think the Hangman was a great world champion, and unfortunately his reign is somewhat forgotten in the same sense that I think Kofi Mania's run was somewhat forgotten.
I forgot about that.
Going
Yeah.
back to Kofi's run, it was a great run. He was
Yes.
he was I wouldn't say dominant, but he was a very established champion. He won strong matches. He won his feuds.
Workhorse.
And then the Brock Lesnar happened.
The
And
Rock.
That's the only thing people remember. And in the same sense, I think Hangman suffers from that because Hangman had an awesome feud with Danielson, had a great feud with Adam Cole, had an awesome match with Lance Archer, and then it led into the CM Punk situation. And not for nothing, the story that was being told there made it look like Punk was this heel in disguise
Yeah.
that Hangman was trying to save them from. So during the match, when Hangman almost goes heel but decides against it, and then CM Punk takes advantage of that and wins it, that fit the story. But then all of a sudden, Punk is this prevailing hero raising the title, and that's what they stick to. And he gets injured shortly thereafter, so we don't really know where he was going to go with that. But the idea was apparently Punk was going to have a summer of Punk in the sense that he was going to have an awesome dominant champion run, defending the title everywhere he could, being a workhorse of sorts, in the same way Moxley ended up being as interim champion. And that whole angle that he was worked with Moxley coming back, that kind of was supposed to emulate the Rocky movie, I think was a good angle, but that really soured Punk on top of this whole elite situation because he didn't like that promo from Hangman, the workers' rights promo, the infamous workers' rights promo, because he thought that was referencing Colt Cabana and stuff like that. And Hangman claims he wasn't, and it was more so just to build him towards the match. And I think a lot of people saw it that way too, but Punk didn't, and he had to stew at home thinking about that. So he came in trying to get all that shit off his chest, and then he called out Hangman. That like in his first promo back, when he wasn't supposed to call out Hangman, when Hangman wasn't there to answer it, and that really fed fuel to the fire. So then there's the brawl out situation, and like in some of those names you've mentioned, like Christopher Daniels, he was involved in breaking up the fight. So you come back around ahead of time with the Ace Steel situation. That's why Christopher Daniels was supposedly asked to leave, because it's supposed to be an equal footing in terms of Ace Steel not being allowed, so he's not allowed, kind of thing. I'm not sure about.
And if I could add, Friends of the Elite, all those people that we
yes,
named.
Friends of the Elite, like you mentioned, like Isaiah Cassidy, Matt Hardy. Yeah, they're indefinitely been excluded, even though they have worked Ring of Honor recently in the past, which is at a Collision show. So one has to wonder if that stems into it. Hangman. Not to get myself too out of sorts here, but then we go to All Out. CM Punk gets injured, so now he's got to go home again and stew about it. And that's probably the only reason he wasn't fired outright from that situation there. But he must have some sort of special contract deal, because they were looking to buy it out. He has some sort of extended no compete clause involved, so in which he was trying to get exonerated in the case of him getting bought out, presumably to go to WWE if he wanted to, because he's got this itch for wrestling, which is why he popped up at that Raw Chicago show back in May, because he just makes some amends, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And why else to do that? So, and the thing about it is, when you go back to the thing we talked about, tribalism earlier, we now have tribalism within AEW because we have CM Punk cultivating this area over here in Collision, this little corner of AEW where all of the CM Punk approved guys go. It's literally at the point now where you see somebody on Ring of Honor or AEW, and by default you know that Punk doesn't have a problem with them, because if he did, they wouldn't be on the show. Yeah. And I think that's a way too much leverage for any single star to have, unless they have some sort of extended role in the company. And as far as reporting goes, there is no such thing for CM Punk. So it's just political pull as a star. Like you mentioned, the network loves him. So that's kind of like that little back pocket pull. Oh, but this is why this is happening, because of me, kind of thing. And not for nothing, the four of the largest gates AEW's ever produced had Punk in a featured match on it. So
yeah,
that plays into his leverage as well.
And
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and also, if you look at like the AEW figures, I've been noticing like this new wave that has been released. None of the figures were back ordered except CM Punk. It's like that's the other statement on that. It's like, yes, some people have their beliefs on CM Punk, but his stuff sells.
Yeah, like it not. Pepsi Phil?
Yeah.
He's good for the business.
Here's to blow your mind. So remember when I said that the locker room felt like everything worked together, it's harmonized, and it's like we're better without Punk.
I wanted to expand on that as well.
Oh yeah.
Punk did the exact same thing on Collision that they did to him. He didn't forgot about that. So he dished it out.
And that's exactly it. CM Punk, it seems like he really is trying to paint this narrative. The more time goes on, it seems like every single time there's something that's going well for the Elite or something that's going well for AEW, in spite of CM Punk, something comes up to disrupt that, or all of a sudden something's great about CM Punk's side of things. And that's where it really seems like there's some level of manipulation at play. And the point I was making before about the Hangman feud, CM Punk feud, is it felt like that was going a direction that very much it didn't go. And I think that part of that was because CM Punk was like, no, I don't want to work with Hangman anymore after that whole situation. And it really just seems like there's no way going about it. Yes, he is this draw for AEW, but at what cost? Because now he has shifted the overall direction of AEW, which was originally a tight-knit, closed doors, we're all on the same page in what we want to do with this production. Whereas the more you brought on these other people, like you brought on your Andrades, you brought on your CM Punks, and it's like, well,
Your Bryan Danielsons, ex-WWE people.
Yeah, not even like some of them fit, some of them can work, some of them mold to the vision. You know, I'd argue Jay White is actually doing really good at molding to the flow of AEW without making it too much about him, but without sacrificing his own quality in the process. You know, so there is that working out for him. But then you look at, like I mentioned, in Andrade, you know, he needs to be this really big star, and there's no room in AEW for him to be this really big star. You know, you look over to like a Swerve Strickland, who I think also is fit into the flow of AEW, but I think a lot of people would love to see him higher on the card much sooner than he has been. But AEW had this very specific vision.
Roster.
In fact, as it stands right now, CM Punk is probably the least planned world champion since the company's inception. The first 4 world champions in the order of Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, Hangman. That was planned at the top of 2019.
Yes.
So, like, they planned on that. And maybe MJF was supposed to be specifically the 5th, and CM Punk coming in, they were like, well, we can make this work like this, and, you know, have MJF be the 6th. But that all got disrupted because CM Punk now got injured, and we had to do this interim situation, and now the title has jumped back forward. Now, all of a sudden, Jon Moxley's a 3-time world champion. And AEW probably didn't want to have such an accolade exist for decades to come because they wanted to have so much value and prestige beyond each and every individual run, hence the long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
But all of that gets thrown into disarray when one Charles Manson Punk does not get his way.
I like that. That.
So basically, what you're saying is he wrestles like Bret Hart, but he acts like Hulk Hogan behind the scenes.
Here's the thing. Like he is. If you were to compare Terry Bollea, the human being, and Phil Brooks, the human being, Phil Brooks, the human being, is leagues quality a better human being. But yes, from a political aspect, he very much feels like Indie Hogan.
Yeah.
He gotta have the creative control, brother.
But a question I
100%.
A question I have for you, Devin, is there anyone on the AEW roster you feel that should be booked a little more, or like who has the charisma, who has the talent, and it could be for the men or women's division, and that they could be doing a little bit more, but because of the star-studded roster, or such as the CM Punks and like the Pages and like and all them, you think they could be getting pushed a little more?
And there's only so much time in a TV show.
Yeah.
Exactly, absolutely, and that's really the struggle because there are several names that immediately come to mind. One, Keith Lee. I think Keith Lee could be such a spectacle if you let him be, and he is from time to time. But I don't think he's featured on TV enough for him to really be seen as such a thing, at least in the eyes of like a wider audience. Hook. I think
for sure.
Hook so much about him and saying nothing, and like, yes, he is still green in certain aspects, but if you could do it with Jade, you could do it with Hook. I think Hook could have been TNT champion by now if they really get committed to it from the get-go. And it's not to say they have misused him, but I do think that they've been a little start-stop with his featuring, and the FTW title was kind of them being like, all right, we got this figured out, and we'll just leave this over here until we want to pick up on it again. I think they could have stand to build that up.
Yeah, it does feel like they cut his water off a little, and also
I got one. I think they kind of felt like they cut their water off. Hobbs. Powerhouse
Yeah.
Hobbs. Like, he was my boy, man. I
Yeah.
loved him. And even, like, it's sad Warlow kind of is getting there now.
Brian Cage also.
Yep, Brian
It's
Cage.
like for Hobbs, the story they could have done with Hobbs is have him hold on to the TNT title for a long time and have Ricky Starks be the guy to take it off of Hobbs, because of didn't Hobbs destroy Ricky Starks, and this proves how much he worked for it, how much he developed him winning the Owen Hart. It was a good push for him. This then pushing him towards the TNT next. That would have been the next big step.
A good, slow build for
because
both men.
Ricky
Both of them.
Starks has the charisma to be great, but the storytelling on Hobbs being the heel and Ricky Starks being the babyface, and it's like the Team Taz approach. That would have been one of the greatest stories, but then they had to kind of flip-flop the TNT title and put it back on Wardlow, then put it on I believe Christian Cage, because Christian Cage is
Actually,
the
I defend that decision. He's doing a great job with it.
Turtleneck Christian.
God bless
love it.
Turtleneck
It
Christian.
is very funny.
But
you see, that's...
it's
Yeah,
just,
I'm kind of with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but it's basically how I see the Christian rule. It's like they're copying the Freebird, and that's not a bad thing. The Freebird rule is a fun rule for a thing like this.
I'm sorry, Alex. I don't want to
Yeah.
get tangled on your cord here.
Yep. But
Yeah, no, I don't think that it's so much it's a Freebird rule as much as I think it's just Luchasaurus is legitimately the champion. So Christian is just like blindedly by ego. He's just calling himself the TNT championship. I'm not TNT champion, rather, not the championship. But I'm not sure if they're trying to tell the story of Luchasaurus doesn't understand that he's the champion, or if it's just a matter of Christian's convinced him that they are co-champions because of how much he has helped him get to this point.
Or is it in
either way,
reality?
Yes, I ain't going.
Reality just trying to mask like Luchasaurus, like pretty much make him that like Kane, like okay, he's a threat, but when he wants to be the threat, like don't have Christian defend it, but just have Luchasaurus be the decisive maker.
You could make him the next Kane.
the decisive factor, David.
Yes, there you go.
He is kind of getting there, but this is where it goes back to what I suggested before, which was that Hobbs hold on to that title for some time and eventually have a blow-off to his feud with Ricky Starks, because like you mentioned, for under 5 minutes, all out 2022, flattened Ricky won. And then they had a Lights Out match, which was their rematch, and Ricky won that, but it wasn't official because Lights Out. So you could then come back to that and build that off the rubber match. And I kind of thought that was where they were going to eventually go, and that's what could have been happening kind of right now-ish. Like you mentioned, especially out the heels of winning the Owen Hart, and particularly as a babyface. Because now you have the situation where Starks is doing this bizarre heel program, which just came off of this little mini program with Punk outside of the tournament, which also is happening at the same time that Punk's in this program with Joe, and then is in this program with Jay White. That's a whole mess to get into later. But
It's just boom, 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 boom all over the place.
And I told you I love doing these bookings. I said I love doing these booking ideas, and this is how I'm seeing it.
So I just want to go back to. Go ahead.
Yeah, there was still something that I wanted to clarify, because then you ask, well, what are you doing with Luchasaurus and Christian Cage then in the situation, if not this TNT title situation? Well, then it goes back to, I don't want Luchasaurus to be this big dumb idiot, because first off, he's got a PhD in like 2 different things. He's actually a genius, and they've talked about it on BTE on multiple occasions. And the majority of his character stems from his character on BTE, so it's not like that's a degree of removal all necessarily. I think that should have been factored in. He should be smart to that. What I wanted to know with this character arc between him and Christian Cage is, what did Christian Cage say to Luchasaurus that made Luchasaurus not chokeslam him? Shortly after Christian Cage turned on Jack Perry, Luchasaurus came up to him and was about to jump him, and then Christian got in and was like, "What about what Jack did? And what about Jack did to Marco?" And then whispered something in his ear, and Luchasaurus leaned back and then walked out with him. And then he did that little fake double turn with Jack, where he was like, "No, I'm actually with you, Jack. We're gonna jump Christian. Nah, psych, I'm gonna hit you actually though." And then he stayed with Christian, but we never found out what it was Christian said to him that made him turn on Jack. Now Jack's a heel over here, and now Ricky's a heel over there, and then all of these baby faces that could have been doing great babyface stories at this time are now heels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Like
yeah.
the ratio is
I
off.
like the Jack Perry stuff. I
Yeah.
really
Oh, yeah,
do.
I
Like
think
you
it's
mentioned
a
earlier.
good
like
direction.
next generation Shawn Michaels.
He's the
Yeah.
douchebag Michaels in the '90s. I
like
love it.
For Jack Perry, him like his heel gimmick. It's reminds me of that sign. He's now or the meme. He's now a jungle man.
Yeah, he's
And-
not a jungle boy. He's a jungle man.
And that's what the heel is basically. Ideally, him being a heel is him growing up and he's seeing what it truly is. He now understands why Luchasaurus kind of sided with Christian, and he's kind of seeing the how delicious the forbidden fruit
Delicious.
is.
Freaking
And that's the storytelling that really is great. with
may I
that.
say, I hope he keeps that beard.
Yeah.
He looks good with
Yes.
the beard. He actually looks like a threat.
Do you
Yeah.
think they should just put Anna Jay with them? And because it's out in the open, they're dating. Like
Anna
the-
Jay with Jungle
Jack,
Boy.
yeah.
I think that's an act you can eventually pair up, especially because Anna Jay is currently a heel stepping away from the JAS, but also it looks like 2.0 is going to stick around with Anna Jay, kind of cornering her, kind of being her mouthpiece, which
Yeah.
I think would be good for her, because Jungle Boy is also someone who needs to improve on the mic and with that on-screen charisma. And to put him with Anna Jay, and they're both individuals who have to improve in their own ways, I don't really think that puts them in any position of bouncing off one another and growing. You know, I think they end up stagnating if they do that. So I think having them in their own separate corners, developing in different ways right now is good. And maybe that's a pairing you do down the line if this Jungle Boy heel turn is a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I hope it's a long-term thing. But I would say, take your time with the products. Take your time with the person. Let them evolve into it. It's kind of like a butterfly.
Yeah.
With the caterpillar, you gotta let them spread the wings in a way. And I hope AEW allows that with Jungle Boy.
Yeah,
or
don't do
Jungle
like a
Man.
massive blow off
And the-
this quick.
Kind of like with Ricky Starks, like you were saying before, with the face and then
Yeah.
heel thing, or even the thing with kind of like with Woilo and Hobbs with the TNT title.
Yeah.
And it's like that's one thing I remember. Like it just drove me nuts. Like okay, you have Hobbs win it, the title. Okay, cool. And then he loses it right back to Woilo. What was it like a week or two after? What was the point of
Well,
him
you
winning?
know why? Collision. They wanted a big thing
Yeah.
to boost it.
Yeah. Wait, no, that wasn't Collision
Was it?
when he lost to Warlow, was it?
Oh no, it was the pay-per-view and then heading to Collision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, first
And-
off, I hate that because they did wrong on my boy Hobbs. Come on, give Hobbs a chance.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and like now, in my opinion, it just made both people look weak at the end. So
I do think it could have not had that effect, because I think with what they were going for with the TNT title is it's designed to have a little bit shorter title reigns, because it's supposed to, the international title is the one that has like the long reign going on for it right now. So the TNT title is a little bit more, I don't want to say hot potato-y, but it traded around more often, with the idea being that there's so much even competition going on.
it could have been
But-
worse. It could have been the women's title in WWE with Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, all that. It could have been that.
But it's funny you mentioned that. It's like, like back when WWE had the 24/7 title, it's like it's no secret everybody in like when they go to a wrestling event, oh, they want to see a title change. They want to see a title change. But you can't always have title changes because you need to do the story and all this. If you had like the hardcore and like even the 24/7 wasn't out for that where you got all these title changes and fans, it's a way to get fans to kind of go home happy because they got to see history. But
underrated opinion, I actually liked the 24/7 title. I thought it was it was goofy.
Yeah.
I think I held it at one time.
Here's the thing, like, who remembers when Crash had the hardcore title? Back in, like, the 90s, late 90s to 2000 in the end to there. You remember it? Huh? I'm sorry, go.
No, I see what you're saying, and it does relate to the hardcore title and concept there. I think it could have stood to have a better title design to it and have a little bit more than 5 seconds of thought put into it.
Yeah.
And just like one of those cartoon chase scenes.
It played Benny Hill.
That was really just like wasted as a concept.
Benny Hill special, yeah.
unfortunately,
Sorry, go.
No, back to the TNT title situation.
Yeah.
With it being traded, I don't think it's so much a matter of getting the crowds a pop. I think it was just a matter of like these stars are so evenly matched, and this is why this television. And also, the concept of a television title is that it's defended frequently on television, and
But it's defended on pay-per-view.
Naturally, results in more frequent title changes. I think what fell flat is nothing of note happened during Hobbs' short week title reign. You look back at the top of the year. Darby Allin had a 4.5-week title run, and it was one of the best TNT title runs in years because he had a story being told throughout the entirety of it with actual character beats connecting to him defending that title. So by the time it came back around to facing Joe, he was already beaten, battered, and bruised because you could reference this match, not unlike the Orange Cassidy story they're telling right now. The thing with that Orange Cassidy story is it's dragged a little bit in concept. But with Darby Allin, I think that was a good example of a short title reign that was meaningful. And they could have done that with Wardlow and then Hobbs, and then with Wardlow again, but that didn't quite happen. And that's why it feels like at the end they're worse off for it.
That's interesting. I never really realized Darby held the title for a month, and it seemed like a while for him to hold the title.
And this is why we have you on here. You give us the inside scoop.
Devin's the AEW guy.
So
These are Mike Tenay. So which all these title changes and like lack of booking and build to AEW All In.
I thought you were going to say Dynamite for a second. I don't know why.
No, but listen, and promotional work besides they just promoted on the event, and with the whole Elite versus CM Punk's camp thing, do you think Tony Khan is a good boss, or does he need help, or is he a good booker, or is it just too much on his plate at once?
Or do you think he can be a pushover at times, or
or is this all by design?
He's a lot better than most people. I feel like I rarely hear Tony Khan getting the appropriate amount of credit. You know, more often than not, I will hear people not giving him enough credit. But every now and then, you will hear people that are just kind of like, you know, puffing him up way too much. I think Tony Khan is a lot better at professional wrestling booking than people give him credit for. I think he has a great mind for this. He has a great memory for this, and yes, he is spinning a lot of plates both in and out of wrestling. And sometimes that might be a little too much. As somebody, myself, I have a lot of outlets going on. It's just planning this podcast. Y'all know I had a major schedule to really try to work around and fit
We
a spot
appreciate
in.
it. Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yes, I thank you for having me on. That's not so much trying to big shot or anything like that. It's more so just saying, like, it's hard to spin those amount of plates. So I can resonate with Tony Khan in that. I know some billionaire spinning in an NFL team and an international company and all these other things that he's doing. I can't possibly relate on that level. But in terms of trying to spin multiple plates at once, I think he does a great job at that. It's not always perfect. In fact, there's plenty of times where it's like you could very clearly be doing better with certain things. Women's wrestling, Tony Khan, please.
Yeah. Thank you. Like,
If you watch Ring of Honor, you see plenty of it, honestly. So it goes to show Tony Khan can do it. Tony Khan doesn't hate women's wrestling. Tony Khan doesn't have this mindset of it doesn't draw or it's not interesting. But for whatever reason, Dynamite, Rampage, Collision, one women's match every single time. It's just not.
I do say Collision, they're getting better with it.
Yeah.
I just feel like Dynamite.
I'm sorry.
No, I just feel like Dynamite is like where it's lacking.
You see, it's in terms of featuring women. That's the thing, right? Because
Yeah.
it's still one women's match each time, but it's a matter of featuring stories and characters as well alongside that. And I definitely agree with that. Collision seems to be doing a bit better of a job with that. Rampage, I would even say, does a bit better of a job than them. Sometimes, like you said, Dynamite is like out of the three, the worst off in terms of laying like these are our women's performers, these are our characters. Check them out. They're like, yeah, we had the main evented 2 weeks in a row, but it was also less than 10 minutes for last week. That doesn't really feel like that. It feels more like lip service than anything. So that doesn't feel like it's completely fair. But in terms of Tony Khan being a fair booker, yes, I do think he can be a little bit of a pushover, specifically when you look at CM Punk. It's not out of the question that his fandom of CM Punk, his personal fandom of CM Punk, is getting in the way of accurately judging the situation to its core.
Sure.
I feel like a much more neutral mindset in the situation would not have Punk being a part of AEW ever again after that situation, all out. So I think in that regard he can be a little bit more of a pushover, and he's very empathetic in nature, and that again I can relate to. So like I can't even sit here and with 100% confidence say I'd have made a different decision in his position, because of you look at the drawing figures and you look at the fandom, you look at all of these things, you want to make it work.
Yeah.
Ideally, most likely he wants all sides to be on equal terms.
I think his dream match is just taking the all-out brawl-out and turning it to a masterpiece.
I think that's his vision at the end, and
He wants that to happen very much.
And I think, like, personally, I think he needs somebody like a right hand man or something to be like the strict guy,
Like his Pat Patterson.
Yeah, because like I know it sucks. Like no one wants to be the bad guy. I get it. I don't even like being the bad guy at times.
But he has to step up and be a boss.
Yeah.
It's like, how many times can you basically let CM Punk get away with stuff? I get it at the press conference. He was shocked by it, and he was like, took him by awe. But when he kept hearing him, it's like, we're cutting the mic off, and hopefully at the press conference at this All In, they don't have they have someone monitor Punk,
or he doesn't show
monitor
up.
the Elite. I think the Elite will be fine, but just keep them in two separate areas, or have he needs to be like aggressive, put his foot down. He needs to be a grown up. If the kids wanna fight, put them in the corner and put them in timeout.
And then the other situation with Tony Khan is during that latest vignette of MJF and Adam Cole, it showed Khan on yelling at him, trying to get this idea that he can be strict, and that's. Some people did not like that situation where like the fate. Some people seen it as favoritism. How did you feel about that, Devin?
There's a few things. One, I want him just because I don't want it to escape my mind because I thought about it a few times now. CM Punk had to, before returning this time around, had to sign a legal document saying that he would not slander AEW in any way that he did before.
Yeah, NDAs. Yeah.
Yes,
Vince loves them.
Like yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question one more time?
My question is I believe it was the latest vignette with MJF and Adam Cole. They were at the Outback and then they double clothesline QT Marshall, one of the workers.
Yeah.
And then Tony Khan yelled at them, and some people did not like that because of
is he trying to be a character?
Yeah,
now?
is he trying to put the character into it now, or that? How do you feel about that?
You see, I think Tony Khan still stands by. He doesn't want to be a character on screen, but I also think that he was more so a plot device in the story Adam Cole and MJF are telling than actually being a character there. As for him yelling at them, but I also think that a lot of people have missed the irony in that and the satirical nature, because if you look at the MJF Adam Cole pro segments, they're very satirical in nature in their own rights. This whole MJ, like, come on, they're going into the, like, oh, I love Outback Steakhouse. Don't fraternize with the enemy. Like,
Kangaroo punch.
Kangaroo kick, yeah.
Kangaroo kick.
So I think having Tony Khan then just come out and he's like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, we all know that's not Tony Khan.
No, yeah.
That's what's so funny.
Yeah, he's the nicest guy.
So the joke isn't, oh, he actually is like it wasn't so much, oh, Tony Khan's showing us he actually is a very stern boss. I think it was more so, here's this joke that Tony Khan's this really stern boss, because he comes out and he gives him that intense look.
Yeah.
Like, great, we're on, and then he puts on the sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, it's very sinister. And he even has like the little slunch comes, and he has this cup of coffee. It's almost like a fucking arcane focus.
Yeah.
He's like this warlock in disguise.
He did that with the whole Impact Invasion, and I absolutely love it. But like, tell a personal story.
That was fun.
Yeah, tell a personal story. Pretty much stayed for countless hours of Collision, Ring of Honor tapings. Like, Tony Khan came out, thank you everybody, here's Darby Allin. We started it, I'm putting credit on us.
Yeah.
It's our podcast, and we can.
Yeah. We have the right to.
But we chanted, please come back, because we wanted an alternative to WWE. We want AEW to come back, because we thought this is our only shot here. Yeah. And Tony Khan heard it, and he didn't have to come out.
No, you could tell. Darby was like, he was doing a thing, and he's like, hey, I want to come back. And then, like, Khan, nothing, like, it was so
out of the curtain, you addressed the crowd and said, you know what, Darby, you're damn right, we're coming back. Didn't have to do it, but he's a man for the fans.
You can watch that clip on our blog.
Yeah, that was like after everything, the ROH thing. That's at the end of the video if you guys want to watch it with our vlog of it. But may I add the... exactly. May I add, I know we joke around. We joke about Khan here on the channel all the time.
We joke on every wrestler.
Hey, sometimes I joke around like, oh, he got his money because he gets it from Daddy Khan or whatever. It's all in for fun.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I truly, after that night, I gained much more respect for Khan though. But me, like, as you guys will see in future podcast episodes, I'm sure of it, we poke fun of people. We're not really doing it being like, oh my god, them Grizzlies, they're assholes. We're doing that for
assholes?
Assholes. And so it was like, we're not doing it to be a jerk. We're just trying to be entertaining at times, like, and like we have nicknames sometimes for wrestlers, but we don't mean it for harm them or like mean it as an insult at all.
But
I want to flat out say that now, because sometimes when you say coked up Khan as a joke because he's hyper.
Is it coked up with a K for the Mortal Kombat reference?
Yeah.
I think
but
yeah,
but yeah, I just wanted to flat out say that. Just it's all in fun. And yeah, like Devin, you know us. You know us, like how it is. We kid, we joke around, and we do that with each other too. It's like, hey.
The thing I was going back with, like the Tony, I forgot to mention this, like with the people who are giving heat, because David, didn't you tell me that like when Punk came back, Tony Khan was chanting like CM Punk, as
Khan was chanting CM Punk,
and that's the one thing that like it's kind of like you're doing this, but then you're doing like the strict promo with them, and that was the big question I had before, but. I forgot that small detail, but
that's good.
Yeah,
I think it's now time
to
go down the match card.
Okay.
For all in, we've been talking about the behind the scenes stuff. That's a good segue to it. By the way, I only know like 2 matches on the card for
So
All In, and I'm not
go
even
down
counting the buy-in.
Before we say this, I'm gonna like add a question for a match and all this. But my question is this: one of the great things for the original All In from Chicago or whatever, I believe it was.
All In was in
Yeah,
Chicago.
the original
first one, I
All
think.
In. One of the greatest
yes.
thing is the Battle Royal where you got a spot on the card. Do you think instead of having that fourth woman and to have Britt Baker versus the Bunny in a match to determine the fourth woman in the match, actually should have had a battle royal to show off some of their other female talents and to basically, Britt Baker could have ended up winning that, but just have that on the pre-show also to basically book that this is like a big deal, so take your opportunity wisely because it's a big deal.
You see, that's actually an incredible idea because I think that would have, again, lives to the spirit of All In. There is one problem with that I think would have gotten in the way of them wanting to do that because otherwise I really think that would have been the way to go.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they want to sell tickets off this match. They just did a pull-apart brawl on Rampage with all 4 women. You can't do that if one of the women isn't determined because they're not going to be determined until the night of. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And you could just do a pull-apart brawl with the 3 and then maybe have the Battle Royale won by somebody who is in some way associated with the story.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, I would have advocated for such a situation because I'm really with that booking method of trying to live up to the spirit of All In every way, shape, or form. A Battle Royale to get on the card. You could have maybe done that in a different way, but specifically doing it with the women to get them all that paycheck, to give them a platform to be seen on that they would have never otherwise been able to be seen on. I think that is an incredibly missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, an incredible missed opportunity.
So, since while we're here, might as well go over the match. It's a fatal 4-way match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm versus Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker DMD.
And by the way, while we're at it, while we're saying the matches, we'll just say who we think going to win.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, first I'm going to ask Devin, how was the build to the match? You sort of went into it, but...
Yeah.
So far, the build has been fair. I think this is, in a way, an extension of the Outcast story, which, not just like the build for All In, has dealt with some hiccups. You know, All In has dealt with the hiccups in the form of the Bryan Danielson injury, in the form of the Pac injury, in the form of the Jamie Hayter injury, which is why this match is kind of happening right now. But Jamie Hayter would have been in this 4-way regardless.
I didn't realize so many people are injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is, like, that's, I think, part of the reason why All In was so, like, I feel like they would have led with Kenny Omega versus Danielson 2 in All In if he had not been injured at Forbidden Door with that broken arm.
Oof.
So, and that's something I kept forgetting to mention. I really keeps escaping me. But in terms of this 4-way, I think it's been okay. I think they still like 1 or 2 more things they need to land. I really think they need to try to do a better job of convincing us that Shida isn't just going to defend the title and move on. Because, like, Storm is kind of having a midlife crisis in her mid-20s, which is hilarious to see break down on weekly television. Actually, she just had this fabulous get-up on Collision last night. I think was really good. This character's fun. Her becoming a 3-time women's champion isn't unseen, but I think you have the Moxley issue if you do that, you know?
Yeah.
You could have Saraya win, but then you have this paradox of here's this out-and-out heel getting this major babyface moment that really is only to make up for the fact that Hayter isn't there to have it. And then you look over at Britt Baker. You could do that, and honestly, that might not be a bad idea, but at the same time, then you have Britt Baker ending Hikaru Shida's title reign once again before Hikaru Shida really gets a chance to have a proper run.
Exactly.
In front of fans with that belt.
Like, every
Shida
time
had
she
a
tries
year-long
to
run
cook,
in front of,
I totally forgot Toni Storm had the title twice.
Yes, because she was technically interim champion the first time, but it was retroactively recognized as the linear champion because Thunder Rosa had to vacate.
Okay, yup, now I remember.
Which, by the way, I still find that stupid. Those, like, title things like that.
I was just going to go the other direction. I love the concept of interim championships because it keeps the championship relevant. It keeps the legacy of the championship relevant. No one has a title taken away from them just because of an injury, which is how
Yeah.
it's done in real sports.
I got you there, but it's like sometimes, like,
Yeah.
I guess with the whole punk thing or whatever
Like
before.
it was played off so much when it's like, okay, the men's doing it, and then the women's doing it, then back to the men doing
Yeah.
it, and it's like
It
if-
happened too much. That is
Yeah.
an issue because it started off with. Here's the thing: the very first time an interim champion happened in AEW was totally unnecessary. It was Sammy Guevara becoming interim TNT champion when Cody had COVID. And he
Yeah.
could have just waited a week to have the title match instead
Exactly.
of doing
Yeah.
his interim title. That was kind of pointless. Then you do the interim, world champion chip with Moxley. Honestly, I think that was a great way of establishing the concept of an interim champion because he made it legitimate and not for nothing. He won the unification match anyways. So
Yeah.
so far, if you look at the history of the what's it called, interim champions, none of them have looked weak like people have feared. People have this mindset, well, they're not really the champion. But then in the case of Tony and Hayter, they were legitimate champions after when all said and done. Moxley beat the real champion. Sammy Guevara beat the real champion. So it is a defendable concept. I understand where people come from in the sense like, well, then how do you recognize the champions? Because some people would want to say Moxley is a 4-time champion. Other people would want to say that Moxley's interim title and second world title were all one reign, and that's where it can get kind of confusing. I get that, but it's a set that when all is said and done, people need to see an interim championship as a separate accolade. It is effectively a championship that only exists under specific circumstances, but it's still
title.
Moxley is a 3-time world champion and a 1-time interim world champion.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I say like
Okay,
that.
fair enough.
I kind of like changing my mind a little bit there.
No.
I still don't like it, but I'm starting to accept it.
Okay, prediction times. We'll go with the guests first. Who do you think's gonna win this match?
The Fatal 4-Way match, yes.
I think it's going to be Hikaru Shida, and I think she's going to do it by pinning Saraya.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay. All right. You want to go?
Yeah, you can go
want to go
first.
down the list?
Yeah, we'll go down the row. I think, because Soraya's a hometown gal, right?
Gal. Yeah.
I think they gonna try to do the British Bulldog like moment where it's like the hometown gal gets it, and I think because with Saraya, like with her coming to AEW, pretty much the social outcast has been looking weak, and this is like the time to really cement that, put the post, say, yeah, we're serious.
How is she gonna win?
I'm gonna say she's not gonna. I think she's gonna throw someone out, do her finisher, and 1, 2, 3.
Oh, kind of like the steel.
Steel, yeah.
The steel victor.
Opportunist, yeah.
Page hair.
Correct.
I would say, I'm going with my girl Shida. I like you were saying before, she hasn't really had an established title reign yet, and in my opinion, out of everyone on the women's roster, she's the one that got screwed over the most. In my opinion, I'm going with her, and I think she's gonna win by a pinfall against the one that screwed her over her reign, Britt Baker. I think.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say she was going to win by submission. I mean, not submission, I mean DQ.
You know what? I should write that down for like when we do the points thing
Oh,
for your
before
Discord.
we go
vote.
to Alex,
Yes.
are we gonna see a split because Tony Storm and Saraya is on the same page?
I was gonna mention that.
Oh, I forgot
I was
about
gonna
that.
say it. It's like what I was gonna say is are we putting that the cliched teams can't work together in a big match situation and they're gonna split up? Or is it going to be Tony Storm going to go realize it's Paige's hometown and basically realize she won the title before it's Paige's moment? That's the question. But how long has Shida been champion so far?
It's only been about 2.5 weeks now.
Really?
Oh.
No, if they cut the water, whatever the kids call it nowadays,
Cut the water off.
Yeah, if they screw my girl over, you're gonna hear me bitch on the podcast, next podcast, or the next live stream. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now,
Oh yeah,
man.
100%.
That's
Because I'm sorry, she gets screwed over so many times.
That's the tough thing about this. It's for me, I have the logical what do I think is gonna happen or a what do I want to happen.
Oh, that's the tough thing.
It's like for me,
Yeah.
it's like for me, that's what always got me. For me, I think Paige would have it. I think
we still call it Paige.
Soraya.
Don't shoot us, fans, please.
Soraya, and she's gonna. I can see her winning by submission, and
I forgot she does. The
yeah, with
submission
the
move.
Page tap out PTO or
Is that where she like kind of grabs the legs, put it in, and then grab the arms?
Will her family be there? Because if
Yeah.
it is, then that's a guarantee.
but and I can see it on Hikaru Shida. Unfortunately, I see her being the fall girl.
Out of everyone, I do see her being the fall girl if she
But
loses.
if I wanted it, what I want is Hikaru Shida to continue as champion, and I would see her again and beat. Yeah, I would say Britt Baker by.
I think I truly think that's a way to build a rivalry with Baker
Yeah.
and Shida.
But now the other question is, how long will Shida and Baker work together in this match too? So ideally, it's the originals versus the newcomers,
True.
or the invaders.
The Outcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is effectively the story that's been told since the
Yeah.
Outcast's inception. Which is why I think there's more in this match than people were giving it credit for. Because it's just like, oh, it's another random four-way for the match. It's another lazy booking thing. No, I actually think there's some more credit to be given here than it's actually gotten. And the more you all give me your predictions, the more I'm kind of leaning towards Saraya possibly winning, but by pinning Britt Baker. So Shida gets her title screwed away from her by the Outcast, and she didn't even lose it.
It'll make her look strong in a way.
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, before we continue, I wanted the women's thing for AEW. I think, we all know, let's be honest, the women's wrestling for AEW isn't the strong suit. Let's be honest.
The thing is, they're great wrestlers. They're not featured properly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's what he.
relevant. People don't care
I
about
think.
it.
I was going to say, in my opinion, there's not enough women on the roster for me,
Well,
family. But I think they should.
Not featured enough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the biggest thing. Like I was saying with the Battle Royal, unfortunately for AEW, they're gonna feature these women like the Britt Bakers, the Soraya, the Tony Storms, because of they got
They're established.
they're the established main eventers, while these other ones who are coming in, like Nightingale, she's starting to get a real push. But it's like you can't, if you had the Battle Royal, you can let fans see what they can do and maybe change their opinion on it, maybe push them a little more. For me, I like Sadie Gibbs when she first was in AEW, and she's talking about coming back to wrestling soon, so I'm hoping to see her back.
Right.
Oh,
Well, as I was saying before, though, I think they should put Stardom, try and bring Stardom
Yeah.
into it, because you know how they have the Forbidden Door
Yeah.
with New Japan. Bring Stardom in.
Yeah.
Bring me my girl Konami. I want to see Konami.
Konami.
okay.
Yeah.
I got one thing, and I'm looking
So
at.
I had to put that down.
I'm looking
'cause
at the
I love
match
her.
card. This is the only female
Match?
women's match on the whole card.
Who's
As of now,
Is this
I'm-
the TNT title?
Statlander. I think they're saving her for Chicago.
Okay.
So I'm thinking this. Are we gonna see a return or a debut? And do you think it's because I'm thinking either the return. I think it may be Jade.
Ooh.
Or Tony Storm, or a debut Mercedes Moné.
Oh,
You
I don't
see,
like her.
Mercedes would be a shout because I'm not sure if her injury is fully healed up by now. But that's kind of she's also been on the down low with that, so
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
just kind of sneak up on us with it.
I could see Mercedes. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was gonna say that. I was gonna see Mercedes winning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say I can see if her injury is not 100% them pulling WWE what they did at SummerSlam with Bailey, Io Sky, and basically who's the Dakota Kai, and just basically have them walk down to the ring and basically go, we're back.
And
Just
also,
that.
it fits with the whole Saraya thing if she does win the title.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With what happened at the live event, if they were smart, they would kind of like use that, but don't, and
Yeah.
mix fiction with reality in a way. But with that in mind, while we're at it, this is the only pre-show I know of. But just get out of the way. MJF, is that up next for the thing?
No, that's my thing.
The Aussie Opens, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Aussie Opens
Aussie,
versus
Aussie.
MJF and Adam Cole. Who
The
do you
Ring
think?
of Honor World title.
Who do you think's gonna win? I
tag
think we all
title.
are gonna have the same answer, but who do you think is gonna win that match?
I think it's going to be Aussie Open.
Yeah, I think everyone's gonna think that.
Yeah, I know some people who think it's gonna be better than you, but
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
it's
Here's the thing. Is that match too predictable? Because if Aussie Open wins and is like, oh, then it's going to play into the...
I think it's gonna be like they're gonna pull like the dissension in that match in a way.
And is it a risk to put your main event out that early?
no. My other question for you, Devin, and this is a key part in my eyes for better than you, baby. Who's gonna start the match in that team?
Adam Cole or MJF?
I'm thinking Adam Cole is going to end up starting the match. I feel like you could even see them being like, oh, no, you start. No, you start. Oh, why do you want me to start? Oh, why do you want me to start? Things like that. And the paranoia is going to drive them insane. I think that it's not a matter of the match being too predictable, because if you think back to the start of this situation, when they had the title eliminator, people were always like, oh, well, Adam Cole has to win now to get a title shot. How else does this story go on? And then it ended up a draw. And then people were like, well, where does this go? This doesn't, like, it can't go anywhere. And then the blind eliminator tag was announced. And immediately people were like, oh, then they're winning this tournament. But are they going to become tag champs? They didn't. But it ultimately came full circle back around to a title match between the two again. So there's the storytelling genius in that regard. But now there's this friendship that's in the way of it that creates this unique dynamic, which is why it's like, well, there's no real antagonist, which is why Roderick Strong, despite being the most justified, is the antagonist here. And then this actual antagonistic force leaning behind them in the form of the Kingdom. And so that, I think, can come into play into the Ring of Honor title match at All In. So I don't think it's a matter of who wins the match. I think it's a matter of how does the winner of the match win the match.
Exactly.
Because that will decide how it affects the losers of the match. And now all of a sudden you have MJF, who just took another loss. Because if anybody remembers to MJF and Adam Cole when they lost the tag titles, which I believe y'all were at that show.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we were.
Great match.
MJF
Great match.
was so upset. He was so upset with himself for losing the match. He lost focus. And what did that mean? He lost the match.
Yeah.
So what happens if he loses the match again, or worse? What if Adam Cole loses the match? Because Adam Cole was right there being like, no, don't worry about this. You're still the world champion. We're okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to do this. Does MJF do that for Adam Cole if Adam Cole loses? Or does he get upset with him for losing? You cost me this. I don't lose.
You know what? That answer, by the way, I don't know the Aussie guy. The name.
It's Mark Davis and
Aussie
Kyle
Open,
Fletcher.
Extremely great
Yeah.
tag team. They've
Yeah.
been severely underutilized in their short time in Ring of Honor, and that's saying something considering they're the tag champs. But they are that fucking
Yeah.
good.
I
They
know
are,
them as,
within years will be in the same conversation as FTR and
Yeah.
Young Bucks.
I know. I seen them wrestle fifth. I mean, like the people in the team. I don't know the names on my head, but I would say they're gonna win by doing the finisher. You made me turn to Adam Cole's gonna get the. He's gonna get the pin. He's gonna be pinned on, for sure. 1, 2, 3, and I think that's gonna play more in the story for later on in the night. So, which once we get to that match, the MJF and Adam Cole match, I'll say more into that answer later on. But I'm thinking pinfall at Aussie Open 1, 2, 3. So
The point I was asking for the who's gonna start the tag first or who's gonna start the match first, because of I can see MJF constantly falling out of the ring to save energy for the main event. That's the key thing, saving the energy for the main event. That's the big question. Are they gonna bump into each other, or like you were saying, and what are they gonna do to lead to the main event? I'm hoping they don't split up after this, but that, like you said, that's the end game, and the big sell is what this is gonna lead to the main event.
Yeah.
And your pick?
I said
Aussie Open?
Yeah, Aussie Open,
Who you
and I think pinfall.
I think I can agree with you on but maybe it's Adam Cole because he really wants that title,
Yeah.
and it's like the Austin. He's willing to do anything for it, even falsify a friendship. But I think Roderick Strong is going to play a part in this, and I'm thinking yes, MJF. No, I'm thinking Adam Cole's going to take the fall. But not well. I'm thinking we're gonna see a kangaroo kick. I think that's guaranteed.
People wanted the double clothesline and they didn't see it in the matches.
They're gonna hit it. They're gonna hit it. But no, I think it's gonna be Adam Cole trying to go for the fall, or something happens where MJF sees Roderick Strong, gets distracted by him, and Adam Cole takes the fall without MJF helping him, and it's gonna seem like Adam Cole's gonna see MJF, and Roderick Strong is gonna flee, and it's gonna be like miscommunications, like what the hell, and it's gonna lead on to later in the match.
So it's gonna lead to Adam Cole not trusting MJ. I'm thinking maybe Roderick Strong is in MJF's back pocket for the main event. You're saying?
Ooh,
maybe. I'm thinking maybe.
We'll get to that when.
Okay, I'm just saying another thing is I feel for the double clothesline since it's so over and
For some reason it's over.
and since MJF's gimmick is the devil, or maybe it would be just great having that as that forbidden fruit. Each time they try and go for it, it does not land. It does not land each time. But have it land that one special occasion, and have that be the big decisive factor when it lands.
Oh, there you go.
But also, last thing, and then I'll move on to the next match. Do you break up the hottest act in your company early?
That's interesting.
Do you keep it going?
I think this is the beginning of the end.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's immediate hard breakup at All In. But I think it becomes clear that there's a time limit on it at All In. Whereas right now it seems like this could end up being just how it is from now on. But I think come All In is where it will officially be like, no, this is on a fast track to dissolving.
And I think it's going to be like Adam Cole do like the Owen Hart thing, because it's the one title in Ring of Honor that he never won, the tag title. So it's going to play into that.
Okay.
The jealousy angle. But going on, we have a tag team. This one, we're going to get to this one now with the behind the scenes stuff. Tag team title match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. FTR, Dax Hardwood, and Cash Wheeler get him
Dax
just in a
Hardwood?
bit. Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler. We're going to get to Cash Wheeler in a bit. Versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson for the tag team titles. So, get this out of the way. We all know what happened with Cash Hardwood. Gonna read the statement.
Cash Wheeler.
Cash Wheeler. Cash Wheeler was arrested in Orange County, Florida, and was charged with aggravated assault with the firearm. Was released from jail on Friday after posting a $2,500 bond. Since the incident, I guess the incident happened July 27th.
Okay.
But I guess, so pretty much, posted bail, posted not guilty, and he was very cooperative with the cops. No
That's good.
resistance and all that.
That's good.
So the thing is, and plus, someone said they did not took his passport when they arrested him. They took the firearm, but not his passport. So that means he can travel. So he will be there. Not gonna go in. Yeah, as of right now, things can change. As of now, this match is happening. We're not going to get into the whole thing because we don't know the side of the story, and I think it's not appropriate to speculate.
It's not our jurisdiction
It's
or
not our
point of view
business. It's
to say.
yeah.
So this is going to be a 1 and 2 part question.
Uh-oh.
One, do you think the match is going to happen, or is it going to change, and it's just going to be yes or no answers? And 2, who do you think's going to win? And also, we all know the build to this match. It's basically,
Was this like the third time the fighting? Is it the third time or the second?
this is the rubber match.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the rubber.
And plus,
so.
with the history of FTR being CM Punk's boys, with the Elite, it sort of sprinkles into that.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. But yeah, you think the match is gonna happen? If so, who do you think is gonna win? Let's see.
Well, you see, this was a real detriment because, yes, I do think this match is going to happen as of right now. I think the situation isn't going to get Cash too held up. I think, unless there's some severe outrage, this match is happening.
Yeah.
And if this match is happening, I initially thought it was going to be FTR winning, but in light of the situation, I think the Young Bucks might be walking out with the gold. Here's where this comes back around to the fantasy booking that I mentioned so far ago. I'm not sure if it was at the top of this podcast or at the top of the first recording. But
Damn corruption videos.
You could just call that Beware
is.
a Dog, the first one. Power went out.
it is how we could get that 2-year anniversary, that 1-year anniversary brawl out match with CMFTR versus the Elite. And that is... Okay, so on the card, which is something I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later, is a trios match featuring Bullet Club Gold and the Golden Hun Lovers.
Yes.
And I think that match will happen earlier in the card than this tag match. And after the tag match, there's going to be, it'll be a situation where it's like FTR and the Young Bucks, they're sitting there. Are they going to shake hands? Are they going to shake hands after all? And then all of a sudden, blitz the ring. JR, Juice Robinson, the Guns, they start beating them, they start tearing them down. So then... who else to come down to save them but Hangman? Hangman starts getting beat down. So who else to come down to save him? Kenny Omega. But now Kenny Omega, they're getting outnumbered. Even though it's 4-4, they've got the jump on them. Who else to come out to save them but CM Punk?
Okay.
And now they clear the house. Now it's CMFTR and the Elite versus Bullet Club Gold. They clear the ring. Back-to-back bumped. CMFTR and the Elite stare down. And there you go. 1 week later is all. You don't need a build because their build has already happened.
Yeah, that would be a good way to do it. Okay.
To add on to that, notice if that does happen, is happening in Chicago, Punk's backyard. So if that's meant to be designed to have Chicago boo the Elite, and maybe they'll have another match later on, and they're the Elite's backyard. Yeah.
And with that in mind, you're saying the Young Bucks are gonna win the match, and how?
No, he said.
Oh,
So
right,
that's a very interesting question you pose, right? Because that's what puts me in the position of thinking about how the first and second match between the two played out. The first match, the Young Bucks won because despite their foot getting worked over of Matt Jackson, Cash Wheeler, funny enough, went for a flip, which is FTR. No flips, just fists. He decided to go for a springboard 450, clean as could be, but it didn't connect. And then right afterwards, super kick with the bad foot. Matt Jackson wins. Flash into the second match, does not go to. They stick to their convictions, and FTR gets the win. I think that if the Young Bucks were to win this match, what they have to do is beat FTR at their own game, because it was FTR trying to beat Young Bucks at their own game, couldn't do it. They tried it, so then they played their own game against the Young Bucks, and they did do it. So now, how do you tell the story of they are the better team than to do it? Now, in the case of FTR winning, I was going to say they do it with a flip. That springboard 450, it does connect. And maybe not that, but that be a part of the ending sequence.
Beat them
And
at
that's how
their own
FTR
game.
But now that this whole situation happens, I think they want to get the tag titles off of Cash Wheeler. And so I think the Young Bucks do it. And I think they do it by beating FTR, either by being the best version of the Young Bucks or out FTRing FTR.
Okay.
Ooh,
All
I
right.
like that answer.
So, David,
Okay,
the,
this is my thing, and I think it is gonna happen. I think what's gonna happen, like, so far, we don't know anything.
yeah.
Unless something happens.
Well,
Go ahead.
I could get you the full report.
Oh, you could get the full report.
Yeah, I've read the full report. Cash Wheeler, I'm not happy with the fella. Okay, so just for some quick rundown. If you go back about 2 years ago, Jimmy Uso got hit with a DUI about 3 weeks before him and Jay won the tag team titles. That tag title run then went on to be the historic 620 or however long day run that they had. And the whole thing is, you gave this man who had a DUI, he got in a car drunk. He could have killed somebody. Well, what Cash Wheeler did is he drove up next to this car, held out his gun at the driver with a stare, pointing the gun at him and his spouse. I'd argue that was more directly putting someone's life under threat. So, if Jimmy Uso got all that flack, I think Cash Wheeler should get that flack all the same.
Yeah, 50-50. Yeah, I agree.
I think what's gonna.
But we don't know what provoked that.
Yeah,
That is,
so-
so there's not the whole story, but there are available details, and that's what he was
Yeah.
convicted on because July 28th, the warrant was put out for his arrest, and he finally got convicted on the 17th.
Yeah, was that after Hartford?
No, I'm sorry, 18th.
July
Yeah,
27th?
that was after.
Wow.
That was
good
right
job.
before Hartford.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
before.
Hartford was
Well,
29.
like, thank God we saw him. But
Yeah, it kind of worked out.
right?
Yeah.
It was a day after his warrant was put out.
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
Oh, okay, so this is my theory. I think he's gonna get punished later on. I think there's just too much money on the table. I think FTR wins, but no, FTR loses. Never mind. I think he's gonna get punished. I agree with you. Young Bucks win, but I think what's gonna happen? They're gonna tease a match between CMFTR versus the Elite.
Kinda what Devin was saying.
And I'm thinking it's gonna be everything's on the line. Whoever pins the tag champions, if the tag champions get pinned, the person wins it, and whoever pins the real world's champion will get that.
Ah,
And I think with that, I think that's where it goes. In that way, with like, cause I'm wondering what the reaction is. Who knows? It could like. It's gonna be weird, but he could get cheered for this. Dax with the
Yeah,
whole
Cash,
Arn
yeah.
Anderson Glock thing.
I mean, Cash.
Or Cash.
Yeah,
I
Cash.
said Cash.
I heard Dax.
I heard Dax
Yeah.
too, but
Oh,
But
Cash.
anyways,
But things are strange. If it was just like, because we don't know the details as of
Yeah.
that now, but it could be like a thing where he gets cheered for it, and I think they want it because Chicago loves CMFTR and CM Punk. I think they're trying to get to that. I think originally they're going to get to that, but I think now they're going to get to that. I think that's the next step, them getting to that. But like pretty much, FTR is going to lose, and then Punk is going to win for All Out, and I think after that he's going to take a break.
okay. Alright, I'm gonna make mine quick, simple, easily. I think Young Bucks are gonna win by a Meltzer driver, but on Cash Wheeler, kind of as pin off him as punishment.
A penance, like
Yeah, like as punishment, and then I hope he gets his stuff together, of course. So yeah, I say Young Bucks for this one.
Do you think that the match is going to happen though?
It's on the table right now, but I think.
We're a week out. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I say right now. Yeah, we're recording this August 20th right now, so. Like a week before All In, they could have added more shows, more matches, by the way. But if things go smoothly for Cash, yeah, I think the match will happen. But if not, then no. It all depends on what they're gonna do with Cash.
And David, didn't it answer your question that I think Young Bucks are gonna win?
Yeah.
No. So you're like, but wait. Tell us if you think the match is gonna happen.
Yeah. So
but it could change.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but I think the match is gonna happen as of right now, like we were saying, because of the magical word in wrestling, card subject to change.
Gotta love it.
But I think Young Bucks are gonna win via pinfall. But I can see them AEW booking all these different alternative routes in case they have the fight with Punk and Omega, and basically the Elite versus CMFTR are just an alternative route, because if they can't have it, here's an alternative route so we can book something else.
Always have a plan B.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, our next match, tag team coffin match. Darby Allin and Sting versus Mogul Embassy, AR Fox, and Swerve Strickland. Devin, how was the build to this?
It's been awesome. This is honestly one of the best built matches on the card. Not Shane. I'm sorry. Swerve has done a lot to immediately establish Nick Wayne as a character you want to root for on the show. Nick Wayne debuted July 12th, 5 days after his 18th birthday, in a match against Swerve Strickland, and it really immediately established how good he was and how well he was able to perform on a stage like that. And that alone was enough to make me believe, yeah, I'm with this kid. But then, Swerve, which is honestly an extension of a story that's being told as far back as a year and a half ago in Defy Wrestling with Swerve and Nick Wayne, and where Swerve is he's like this evil mastermind who is trying to build Nick Wayne into something with how he told him over almost 8 months ago or something like that, on your first AEW match, I'm going to be right there waiting for you. I'm going to be there to welcome you to AEW. And sure enough, that's what that match was announced and ended up happening. And then there was the segment where he went to Nick Wayne's house in the shed that Nick Wayne, through the vignette, established to us he grew up in. He sat in that ring when he was 6 months old next to his father, who's a pro wrestler, decided he wanted to be a pro wrestler, and grew up in that ring learning how to be a pro wrestler. And then in that ring, he laid in a pool of his own blood, in a pool of blood that would make Jon Moxley blush, in a pool of his own blood that would make Shawn Michaels blush, in a pool of his own blood that would make John Cena from Judgment Day 05 blush. I'm surprised he's okay. Okay, it was a gruesome sight. It was done all in one take. It was shot from a home video camera. That was a star-making segment because, funny enough, that was cinema.
Yeah.
And then that comes next to Darby Allin, who brought AR Fox into the company, who then turned on Darby and them to align with Swerve, who has this long-standing feud with Swerve in his own right, who has helped mentor Nick Wayne. And then it comes up to the fact that he's got links to Sting. So we have this match happening on Dynamite that's actually going to be Nick Wayne and Darby Allin against the Gates of Agony, which are members of the Embassy. And now next week, I believe, they're going to be having a match against Swerve and AR Fox, which helps build to this match even more. So there's a lot of moving parts in this story that has made it very intriguing. And ultimately what this is coming to is Darby Allin in a coffin match, right? Every single coffin match he's been in, he's won the feud. I think this is where that changes, because he's against somebody who he has constantly beat in the form of Swerve. Swerve, who has finally built this empire, this embassy, the Mogul Embassy. He's now got to complete with AR Fox, somebody else who was by Darby's side for so long. And now on the other side, standing by him, is the last outlaw, Sting, who's just this old-timing gunslinger who's around the town for one last shooting. And that's why every single match he's in, he's diving off something crazy. He's going until the wheels fall off. And I think it all in, the wheels fall off. He gets put in that coffin, and Sting gets put down by the Mogul Embassy.
Yeah.
And Darby's the one who led him to that.
I would say old man Sting, man.
But-
He wants to feel young again.
But the thing is I found it interesting you didn't say make Ric Flair blush.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fair enough. He like
It's like I'm glad. Hey, I guess it didn't make Flair blush, but it made everyone else. And the funniest,
I've been there, done that.
So
but before the funniest thing is everyone kept saying Sting should turn heel on Darby. Sting should turn heel on Darby, and I'm the person who's like, no, don't turn Sting heel because you're just sympathizing with him more. Like, oh my God, he's trying to act young and hip again. He's trying to relive his emo days. Next thing, what you want him to grow back his goatee to be Sting from NWO Wolfpack?
Yeah. Oh, God, no, not that one.
Okay, so something I just double checked as well for this match.
Yeah.
Sting and Darby Allin and a 2-on-2 record are 17-0. They are undefeated as a tag team.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's all the more reason they lose.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to flat out say, yeah, I think Swerve Scott's going to win this one. Him and Nick Rain.
I will say, this was one of the matches I was actually excited for the gimmick of the coffin match. Yes, it's a coffin match, not a casket match.
I agree.
We learned the difference from OSW. But
Apparently, it's very subtle, but yes, there's
yes. But yeah, if I gotta say, Swerve Strickland and AR Fox booked them to win because of. I believe that's one of the few heels we actually said was gonna win tonight.
Yeah, I think.
And two, this just built their career even more, established them even more, and that's one thing that they need to do: establish these stars while they can.
I agree. Yeah. David, who you going
okay,
for?
I'm thinking Sting is gonna win, and this is gonna be his swan song.
Oh.
Okay.
What better place to do it and the biggest event?
I got a question for you. Do I have to tell you how I think they're gonna win?
No, it won't.
No, we're just at this point. We're just gonna roll.
I'm
through it.
joking because there's only one way to win a coffin match.
Yeah, I know.
We've been recording for almost 2 hours now. Well, it's been 2 hours, so we're gonna keep on rolling the ball here.
So
Just
now
like
it's
Taker,
this,
we're gonna keep on rolling.
Yeah.
So 6. We're gonna try to quickly go through these. Just pretty much say,
Who's gonna win and
yeah,
fall.
who's gonna win? Because, and you could just say like a quick yes or no. Has the build been good?
Yeah. We'll do that because
Yeah.
it is getting late.
Okay, so it's the 6-man tag team match. The Golden Elite, Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page versus Konosuke Takeshita. What is it?
It's Konosuke Takeshita.
Oh, Konosuke Takeshita. Ever since actually Av says Takeshita, I can only think of. Against Bullet Club Gold, Juice Robinson and Jay White. Fantastic. I think
Who's the third man in that match for the Bullet Club Gold?
no, it's just Juice Robinson and Jay White. I think Jay White. Oh, how's the build? Has it been good or?
I think the builds could stand to be a little bit better. There's a little bit. I see what they're going for, but there's a few things that have kind of just come into it out of nowhere, like Bullet Club Golds.
Quick note-
stand to be established. Time can tell, but not the best.
Quick thing, I just love the interview with JR. Just walks off like in shock. I'll show you guys later. But I'm thinking Bullet Club Gold's gonna win.
Bullet Club Gold.
I love the guns in Bullet Club Gold, but you tell me so it's gonna be 3 people on Omega side and just 2 Bullet Club Gold members?
No, pretty much.
Alongside Konosuke Takeshita. So
Oh,
Konosuke
okay.
Takeshita's the third
Yeah,
member, so-
okay,
but
so-
he's not in the stable.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I misheard you. I think Bullet Club Gold's gonna win. I think you could bring debut into this to add it to the Bullet Club Gold.
But
So-
with that in mind, who are you going with? Bullet Club Gold or Golden Elite.
Oh, Alex, who did you say? Golden
I
Elite?
said Bullet Club Gold.
Okay, because I think it's going to play into All Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there. I think Bullet Club Gold and Takeshita get the win to help establish the Don Callis family, especially with the match that'll happen later on in the night, which we'll get into. And we'll just get into that later in a moment. But yeah, I think they're going to get the win to help build into that fantasy booking I mentioned earlier, because them having the win, especially with, I like to mention, of a new member coming in. I'm just not sure of who it could be quite yet. Maybe they're in the company already and we just haven't established. Like, what if Sean Spears all of a sudden just like decides he was
I think he really needs it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked well for the Guns. Next match. Oh, did you said yours?
Yeah, so Golden.
Bullet Club Gold. Okay, so we're all in consensus. Bullet Club Gold. Yeah. Stadium Stampede match. Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, pretty much best friends.
Chucklefuck?
No, Eddie Kingston and the Best Friends and Lucha Brothers versus Blackpool Combat Club and 3 to be announced. Who do you think's to be announced?
I think it's going to be Shota Umino, Chris Hero, and possibly Nigel McGuinness, but I couldn't be certain.
And you got for the winner?
I think it may be Nigel. I think.
Go ahead.
I think maybe. Well, no, never mind. It would be way too early for Danielson to come back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would just announce them.
Yeah.
I think Eddie Kingston gets the win over Claudio. He gets the pin on Claudio to set up for a one-on-one title rematch for the Ring of Honor Championship, and I think that would take place at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, which will just be happening in like September 22nd or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Who you going with?
To me, I don't know, but I'm thinking this is a fantasy book. I think for the 3 mystery people, how about this? Christian, a debuting Edge, and Gangrel. The Brood.
Oh, in this
I'm
case.
not sure Edge's contract's going to be up by then.
Oh, it's up now, but Friday. It's over, I thought.
No, that was his last scheduled date. His contract is not up until after All Out.
Okay, there goes my...
Oh, okay, after All Out, never mind.
You mean All In?
Yes, because the thing is, the contract has a certain amount of scheduled dates and matches on it, and that was it finalized.
Okay.
So the contract is still penciled in. The date, the ending date hasn't come up, but
Okay.
the contract isn't like.
All right, then that goes my thing. Then maybe Luchasaurus in there, or honestly, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe probably. I just hope it's not like the guy we saw in Hartford, the Minoru Suzuki. Like, I think it's going to be him. He's going to be added.
I think Minoru Suzuki's a good shout.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see him appearing.
I'm thinking it's going to be Eddie Kingston getting his moment. Because for some reason, every time he's been shy of a big moment. And this is going to be it.
Me, I think it's going to be the alphabet. I keep forgetting
BCC.
the BCC. I always forget that name.
BPC, I think. Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, something like that.
BPCC.
But Reese's Pieces.
BCC.
Oh, BCC?
BCC, Reese's Pieces.
Blackpool is one word.
Yeah, okay.
So I would say it's going to be them, but I think it's going to be the mystery guy getting the win.
I see.
Alex? You're thinking the B...
Yeah, I'm thinking BCC may win, actually.
Okay.
Oh,
BCC on top.
guaranteed Moxley's going to bleed.
Oh, that's kind of... Come on. It's in his contract.
Next match, singles match. Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I think it's going to be Ospreay.
Yeah.
Ospreay,
I seen the build to this, and they almost booked it in reverse. It should have been Jericho doubting Don Callis instead of Don Callis doing it to Jericho. like with the final reveal. But I'm gonna go Ospreay. Ospreay.
I think Ospreay's gonna win, and it's gonna show
boy.
he's gonna be dominant through.
Yeah.
I think by pinfall.
Is the title on the line or no?
No, there's no title.
Okay.
All right, next one.
This one, the singles match for the Real World's Championship. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe is Pepsi Man versus Sweet Tooth.
Pepsi Phil. I'm just gonna flat out say it's gonna be Punk.
Yeah, Punk.
It's gonna be Punk because he's holding that. I think the biggest thing is Punk versus MJF, and pretty much the build was Joe wants to face him. Punk's been denying him. Joe wants to beat him since the Owen Hart finals, and pretty much it's like he finally got it. Semifinal when they faced and the Owen Hart Cup, and pretty much he holds a grudge, and he finally convinced Punk to get it. So this is easy CM Punk. I don't see him losing it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah, Punk got the roll-up victory over Samoa Joe, and the build to this match has effectively been, you can't beat me for real, though. So I think the build-up is like, no, I'm going to beat you for real for this real World Championship. And that will help him set up, again, that run-in angle that I've convinced myself is going to happen now after the tag title match. Which would require FTR to lose and for Punk to win. Punk isn't going to run out after just losing that real World Championship, especially if it ends up being what was suggested earlier, and that is winner-take-all championships on the line in a trios match.
Okay. And you're saying CM Punk, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you just introduced that title, so.
Oh, okay, so pretty much before the thing, I think we're going to get a special attraction match. I think it's going to be Jeff Jarrett in an open challenge against Grado, and the whole arena singing the Madonna song.
I would love that.
And my pick, Grado.
Yeah, okay, fair point. I could see that, because it feels like you need Jarrett on the card.
I think you need like X amount of surprises, and I think that would be a good surprise. Main event. Singles match for the AEW World Championship. MJF versus Adam Cole.
This is the tough one.
And we all know the build up to this match.
We don't even have to rewind.
Fantastic.
We've been saying this for the whole podcast. Honestly, I'm going to flat out say I think it's going to be Adam Cole. And here's why. I think he's going to win with the interference with Roddy Strong and then like miscommunications like, what are you doing? And then MJF's going to be like, no, you should win the legit way. Because I think Roddy Strong's going to have the title, just like to hand it over to Adam Cole. He's like, no, I can't. And then, like, the distraction of the ref. And then Adam Cole's going to hit.
A roll up and grab the tights.
Yeah, it's something like that. He's going to cheat to win it, and I think Adam Cole's going to be the one that turns heel. I truly think so. I don't know why. I think it would be different, probably. But, yeah, I'm thinking...
I think that's what...
No, I was going to say that I think Adam Cole for the W. What were you going to say?
You see, the thing is, I don't say, like I've mentioned before, first of all, he's a streamer so every day, so he would have to turn that heel off, like, constantly to be the streamer, and that, like, immediately detaches him from his character. He was doing that before, but on top of the fact that he just came back off of this life-altering injury with the concussions, I think that really undermines that. On top of the fact that you see him being like, look at how high I can jump, Adam, jumping up and down. Look at how I can jump in the trampoline park to looking at the menu like I can't boo that man. And even more so, it's weird to try and tell me to boo that man over the guy who's sitting here calling himself the fucking devil. So I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's not unlike how you suggested it. Ronnie's like, here, do this, cheat. MJF's going to see that. Oh, you were really just going to cheat on me. This is all one big ruse, isn't it? Adam Cole being like, no, it's not. MJF being like, nah, I'm dropping you kind of thing. And maybe MJF ends up retaining. Maybe Adam Cole wins the title. Because you see, and Adam Cole winning, that's an idea that I've heard suggested before, and it's a fun idea in the sense that Adam Cole taking that title would mean MJF now, that's the whole thing. He was going to walk out the company with that title, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's much more interesting if he has to win that title back on the way out rather than holding it all the way up until that point, because everyone's just like, well, now you're long reign, da-da-da-da. So that's more interesting in that front. But I don't think Adam Cole needs to turn heel to do it. I think from MJF's perspective, he can think Adam Cole turned heel on him. Because
Okay.
Adam Cole didn't say I'll do anything to win. And it may come down to that. I do think what this match is going to end up being is who's going to be willing to be the bigger heel. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what I think is going to be one of those situations, it's going to be... Go back to the birthday celebration a few weeks ago. It was like, I'm going to smash this cake in his face. And he turned it around and smashed the cake back in MJF's face. And it was like that was a turning on you moment, but like, aha, I saw the knife coming into my back. Try to stab me in the back a little harder next time, kind of thing. Like, it's almost like they know what they're involved in. They're both keeping an eye on each other. So I think this match is going to be who can out-heel the other, and the one who gets out-heeled is going to be upset about it. And depending on what low that is, might be too low for the others like it. And that's where the true descent comes from, doubled on top of the miscommunication that will likely result in them losing the tag title match earlier in the night. So I don't think this situation ends up with one or the other out and out being the heel standing over the other.
Okay.
Just yet.
So who?
I think that doesn't come down until like Grand Slam,
Okay.
like a little more ways down.
No.
So who you think's gonna have the W?
That's where I kind of dance around that because I'm not too certain. The more I think about it, Adam Cole winning is a very possible thing, but
It's very attractive.
I think MJF sneaks it out. I think MJF sneaks it out after being convinced that Adam Cole turned on him.
Okay. All right.
Who's going next? Alex
David
or-
can go next.
Okay, this is what I think's gonna happen. Everyone's thinking someone's gonna turn heel or anything. I think is that with Roderick Strong, he's gonna cost him on the first match, and hopefully he would think that's gonna go through his mind, cast out, and I think it's like hopefully the damage is not done. I think Sun's gonna happen where either MJF takes him out or he stays in the back. I think it's gonna be a clean match.
Interesting.
MJF wins cleanly. They shake hands, hug. Pyro goes off. Happy ending. I'm thinking later on though, because Punk is sidetracked with hopefully the Elite. I'm thinking they build up the dissension and the heel to all out.
Yes.
All out. That's when Adam Cole turns heel. Because they need a big moment in Chicago. They always do. Adam Cole turns heel, wins the title there, but by the help of pretty much the Roderick Strong and the guys that Adam Cole used to bend with. Like, I don't know who they are. Yeah, them, what Devin said.
Okay.
And I'm thinking it's going to come to the thing where MJF, I think he changes for the good, and I think he's gonna have to humble himself to try to reconcile with Warlow, FTR, and Shawn Spears to take down this threat, because I think they're gonna build this up to a big match, a big like tag match.
Okay.
It could be blood and guts, because I think that's where the payoff is going to be. And I think it's going to be where, or like maybe a three-way, he has to, it doesn't have to be FTR, it could be Shawn Spears and Warlow. He's going to need forgiveness from them, because with Adam Cole, he taught him emotions and not be selfish.
Okay.
And I think in order to do that, he's going to need that win and make all amends, like make everything right to order to leave the company.
Oh, okay.
Like the Bidding War 2024, like he wins the title, leaves the company, but then comes back and be MJF.
Okay.
I see MJF winning, and I just see them ending up booking it where MJF versus Punk, real world's champion versus the AEW champion, and that's where I can see MJF losing the title to CM Punk, and Punk will do like the I was always the real world's champion, and then maybe do like the thing where he tosses the MJF's title in the trash or something and go like, this will always be the real world's title.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right, that's all good answers.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to choose. 'cause
Yeah, that's definitely challenging. Oh, with that in mind, though, that's the whole card for All In.
As of right now.
as of now, there could be buy-in matches, which we're not going to count
I
them.
think there'll be more main card matches announced, at least 1 or 2 more main card
Oh,
matches.
Yeah.
I'm thinking another one, Hook versus Jack Perry. That's going to happen.
I think that's going to be All Out. I truly think.
It's
But
possibly that awaits all out for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but with that in mind, thank you to Devin for being our first guest for Ico Pals.
First ever Ico Pell podcast.
And remember, guys, Ico Pals podcast is not just going to be wrestling. It's going to be comic book, anime, cartoons, all
Pop
that fun
culture.
stuff. Video games. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And we may not always have guests.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so because each week will be hard to do. But with that in mind, thank you, Devin, so much for stopping by. You are a godsend. We love you so much. You are a brother to us.
And thank you for doing this twice now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
loss.
having me on. Really appreciate you.
And you want to tell them where we can find you?
Absolutely, y'all. And over on the socials, you could find me at twitter.com, because it's still twitter.com handle-wise, twitter.com/AdvyDeven, or twitter.com/_WatchMania. I prefer you follow the second one. That's where you can keep up with me more. Especially when it comes to wrestling, you can keep up with me over on youtube.com/@WatchMania. It is where we do all things in regards to this brand, and mainly watch along channel. We do AEW Dynamite watch alongs 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. BST. We do for AEW Rampage watch alongs 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. BST. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Pacific, 3 a.m. BST, because we have a lot of UK folk in our community that will actually stay up to that hour, so I feel the need to advertise that. And Collision, same time as Dynamite, but on Saturdays. We do a My GM mode stream Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. BST, a little earlier for our UK folk. Hosted alongside Ben, not Bino Momino, I like to say, because I always make fun of his name. Forever Craig, and that one Cameron Zebras. It's a 4-person playthrough, and we do AEW Fight Forever Road to Elite playthroughs on Tuesdays. We'll be doing All In as well. We do all pay-per-views, AEW and WWE for that matter, so it's not just exclusively AEW content, but that's the one we prioritize.
I just got a
You
question.
can't tell by the AEW stylized logo behind me.
I just got a question. Did you ever miss an AEW show?
A few months ago, my Rampage stream got cut out, and that officially ended that streak for me, and I wasn't able to watch Collision live because of SummerSlam, but I have seen every single episode of Dynamite, all 203 of them, live as they premiered.
Wow, so
He is
And
the
yes,
encyclopedia.
pay-per-view as well.
out of like how many events too? No wonder we got him for this. So just one last thing. You think AEW All In's gonna be a great show?
I think it's going to be a phenomenal show. It is not as strong as it could have possibly been, but I still think it has the potential to be the greatest show they ever put on.
I think the crowd's gonna be the show.
Yeah, it's definitely,
The crowd is going to be the show, yeah.
it's gonna be rowdy. It's gonna be a rowdy crowd, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
Yep.
With that in mind, thank you everyone for stopping by, listening to our beautiful voices. It's episode 1 is in the books.
In the bag.
Yeah,
Out of
it's so
sight.
much. It's crazy. I can't believe it.
So where can you catch us?
You can catch us our main Twitter page or the X, whatever you want to call it, at GrizzlyKid4. You can check us out on Twitch at GrizzlyKid4. You can check us out on YouTube, GrizzlyKid4.
Yep.
It's simple. It's effective.
Don't
and,
forget Discord.
in Discord, I don't know the link. But with that in mind, though, thank you everyone for stopping by. It means so much to us. And if you guys got a topic in the future you guys want us to talk about, on the podcast, please let us know on Twitter or YouTube, in that matter, or on Twitch when we're live. We're all ears. With that in mind, this has been Adam.
This has been David.
This has been Alex.
This has been Devin.
We love you guys. Till next time, stay frosty, hate forward, be good people. We'll see you sexy bitches next time.
Have
Well,
fun.